All right, and we're live, and I'm joined by my friend Mitch Aguiar.
How you doing?
Did I say that right?
You did.
So, yeah, it's kind of an interesting story. You know, me, before I made my video, I was just a patrol cop, but my hobbies were fitness, fighting, special ops guys. Like, that's my background. That was your background. So I was already following you and, you know, watching you do your smashing frog thing on Instagram. And then after I made that video, it connected us. And fuck, dude. Oh, there, I already messed up.
Demonetized.
So right before we hit record, we were saying, I wonder if we could go the whole show without swearing. So I'll reset. We'll try it again. Okay. But,
mulligan.
Yeah, that's my mulligan. We got connected on Instagram and started talking back and forth. And, he decided to come up, do a podcast, get some training in and check out Washington State. So welcome, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, so we were just talking before we hit record that if you want to monetize your YouTube channel, that there's some stipulations you have to follow, one of them being some type of restriction on swearing. And I'm not quite sure what that is.
I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
Yeah. And so, you know, at the end of the day, if you can have your product reach more people and get more eyes on what you're doing, if we can refrain from swearing for 5 minutes, I think that's probably a good thing to do. But at the end of the day, we're us, and it is what it is. So
it is what it is.
So, man, you're in the fight scene. You're a former SEAL. You have a lot of eyes on you on social media. But for people that maybe follow me and haven't been exposed to you, I guess just give them a little background about who you are, or where you came from, who you are, all that cool stuff.
Yeah, for everyone who doesn't know me, my name is Mitch Aguiar. I'm 31 years old, from Virginia Beach, Virginia. I grew up great childhood. Everything was good. Have a little brother, year younger than me. Have a stepbrother, 2 stepsisters older than me by a year, and the girls are a little older. Mixed family. Mm-hmm. Great childhood. Really didn't realize how good my childhood was, not necessarily because of like money or anything like that, but just you're really lucky upbringing with my parents, my family. I didn't realize how lucky I was until I kind of experienced more people's families and was just like, man, a lot of crazy families out there.
Bro, I think most families are crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm just realizing that more and more the older I get and the more people I meet. I'm like, man, I was very lucky growing up. So
you grew up in Virginia and you were stationed in Virginia?
Yeah, I grew up in Virginia Beach, but then I moved around. My parents were divorced as a kid and in the military.
Okay.
I lived in Virginia Beach until 5th grade. Then I went to Maryland, lived with my dad till 9th grade. Then I moved. At that time, my mom and stepdad lived in Ohio, moved up there, lived with them for the remainder of my high school, and then joined the Navy, went to BUDS right out of high school. So was in San Diego for 2 years. And then got stationed at SEAL Team 10 in Virginia Beach again.
So that whole pipeline is a 2-year process before you join a team? Is that?
Oh, yeah. Like before you get your Trident.
Okay. I guess I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
How long? So how long is BUDS from like start to finish? If you make it straight through?
If you made it straight through, I mean, you have to do obviously boot camp.
Yep.
Then BUDS prep. And then you go to BUDS, and you're there for PTRR, which is like 2 weeks long, then INDOC, which is a month, and then you start day 1 of first phase. And then BUDS is essentially 6 months from there if you have no, kind of stumbles, nothing like that. Mm-hmm. And then from there, it's 6 months of SQT. And then
what's SQT stand for?
SEAL Qualification Training.
Got it.
And then from there, then you're a fucking new guy.
Okay.
And I was a new guy for 3 Christmases. My 3rd Christmas as a new guy, I was like, this is getting old.
Man. So when you say you were the new guy for 3 Christmases, does that mean just nobody else showed up to the platoon for a long time?
Well, we, I had got there right before Christmas. It was like fall of think '09, and and then so I was there for right after I checked in. Christmas was coming up, so I was a Christmas new guy for that Christmas. Then you do your workup, which your workup is typically a year and a half, and then I was a new guy for that Christmas, and then deployed, went to Afghanistan, and we essentially did 2 6 months back to back, or a 6 month and a 5 month back to back. So I was a new guy still on my first deployment in Afghanistan on that Christmas. So it was 3 Christmases, and I was like, how the hell am I still a new guy?
Dude, how did you get stuck on back-to-back deployments like that? It was the first time they had done that. It was the longest deployment in SEAL team history. And it was something, I believe we were told we were aligning with the Army schedule for some reason. And so thanks. Yeah.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, it's funny. Ranger Regiment, our deployments were 3 months. So 90 days and you turn and burn, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's like, what are typical SEAL deployments? Similar to that, right?
The typical ones were 6 months.
Okay, so that's. And
then it used to be at Dam Neck they were 3 months, but now they're 4 months. But so yeah, I mean there was when we had got there, there was a Blue Squadron was on deployment, and then they had gone home, done a full workup, came back, and they were like, "You guys are still here?" We're like, "Help us, kill me."
When it was March 19th of 2003 is when the Army invaded Iraq, and I was deployed to Afghanistan at the time on a 90-day rotation, right? And our PL and platoon sergeant come into our hooch, and they're like, "Hey, get everybody together. The rest of the regiment just invaded Iraq, and we have no relief. So we're here until further notice. There's no plan to have us swapped out. So it is what it is." So it just became, your deployment became like an unknown time, unknown distance road march. You're just going, you know? And it ended up being a little over 6 months. And I remember at the time we were like, what the fuck, dude? This is forever. Even though you have like infantry units that are doing 18-month deployments,
well,
you know?
Their deployments are very much different.
That's true. Yeah.
Like Afghanistan, from what I experienced is, and I saw, you know, the regular Army there, and I saw a whole bunch of stuff coming because we flew into Kandahar, you know, and then you see kind of the big machine working and stuff. And then, you know, it's like, no, this isn't where you're going to be. We went, you know, flown out on a helicopter to the furthest outpost, and, you know, in Afghanistan, further away from anything. So, you know, we had no running water. It was straight hard living, you know?
Yeah.
And, so individual results may vary, you know, experiences may vary in Afghanistan. And, you know, there was, in Kandahar, there was TGI Fridays and people having birthday parties and
Outback Steakhouse and shit.
And I was just like, what?
Salsa night on Thursdays and stuff.
I couldn't believe, man. Like before I'd gone to Afghanistan, I was like, I used to be that guy that always, you know, saw people in the uniform. Oh, thank you for your service, you know, man. And then when I came back, I was like, fuck off.
Yeah, dude. Sometimes deployments are almost like a vacation.
Exactly.
You know?
It's like some of these people are certainly living better here than they are in America, without a doubt.
Yeah. And I got to experience both things, because another billet that the Ranger Regiment fills is the QRF on the big airfields. Mm-hmm. So Kandahar and Bagram have a QRF that is filled by the regiment. And there was times when we sat on the airfield for months at a time, and, you know, like 1 or 2 incidents may have happened, like downed aircraft or whatever, and we'd get spun up. But outside of that, it's just Groundhog's Day. You wake up and like all your kit has to be sitting there ready to go on a moment's notice. You can't be too far away at any time. So you're just sitting there reading books, working out.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you have access to like a gym. You have great food and, you know, showers and stuff like
exactly.
that. Like when I remember we did QRF for our sister platoon one time, and they were stationed at Tarankalt and TK, you know, and we had flown to TK to be a QRF for them. And we just like got off the bird and we were like, holy fuck, they got running water. And like we like ran over, and, you know, so we were on a mission. We were on QRF, so we couldn't like totally take a shower or anything. So we just put our sleeves up as high as we could and like washed our arms in the sink and we were like raiding their galley and eating ice cream and all this shit. We're like literally, I remember going to Camp Simmons as well, because sometimes they would try to like rotate us a little bit because we had essentially drawn the short straw. We had three platoons, and we were just living the hard life, burning our shit, no food, no running water, literally MREs, cooking goats, stuff like that. Yep. And so when we had got to go to the other bases, I mean, I remember with it, like, hadn't taken a shower in 4 months and gone to
I can imagine what you smelled like.
Oh, dude. Like when we would show up, like our boys would be like, man, y'all fucking stink. And we would, I remember taking a shower for the first time after like 4 months.
That's nuts, dude.
And it felt so good, and like being in the shower, and I remember smelling like a wet dog, like when you give your dog a bath.
Oh yeah.
And I remember smelling that smell and thinking like, oh, it's because I'm in Afghanistan and it stinks here. And I was like, wait, no, that's me.
Man, but I had a deployment that was similar to that. We stood up a safe house, and it was a little village called Berry Cout, way out in the middle of nowhere. And it was the same thing. We got there, minimal food, no running water. And I remember our interpreter said, well, we can have the locals dig us a well. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, let's fucking do it, because like no showers, same setup, right? And so this like group of like 3 Afghan men, they showed up with these little shovels, and then they built this like, like the thing that goes over a well that has a bucket on a rope. You can turn it to raise the bucket up and down. As they started digging this hole, the guy would like hook his foot into that rope, and they would lower him down, and he would dig out dirt and send it up in the bucket. And it got to the point where you'd look in the top, and this guy would go down like 50 fucking feet, dude. And it would just go black. And I was like, dude, what the fuck is he doing down there? Like, but that's just how they roll in Afghanistan, you know?
It's crazy,
the ingenuity that those people come up with is fucking nuts.
It's
dude.
Awesome, man. I remember being on patrol sometimes, going through these villages, and one, to what you were talking about, you would just stumble upon this fucking hole to the middle of the earth. Yeah. And you are out in the middle of nowhere. So there's no signs up that say like, watch out for hole to the center of the earth. Yeah. It's like, and we're on nods, walking around, and all of a sudden you look down, and it's like, if you seriously fall in this, you're dead.
You're gone. Yeah, for sure.
And there's nothing, not a bush, nothing. It's, just all of a sudden here's a hole.
Man, I always make references to that kind of shit, because both Iraq and Afghanistan, there's no such thing as safety precautions. There's no such thing as OSHA. There's no warnings. Mm-mm. I remember like being on the freeway and between Ramadi and Baghdad, and there was
you had roads?
yeah, we had roads in Iraq. And dude, there was a car with the trunk popped up, and like 8 little kids, like toddlers, that they were sitting in the trunk with their legs hanging out the back and just going like 75 down the freeway. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah. Can you imagine putting your 3-year-old in your trunk and then just taking off? But they're fine. I mean, they figure it out, you know?
It's like that in Thailand too. Like when I was rolling, last time I went and trained at Thailand, you're rolling around. I was driving around Phuket with the scooters, and you have whole families on these scooters same thing, like 3-year-olds, like two or three of them, like standing in between the floorboards
and a goat.
Yeah. And you're just like, wow, this is the Wild West, man. And there's just hundreds of them just like going in and out. There's no cops anywhere. There's no traffic laws. We saw accidents, and they just like, keep going. And it happened in Dominican Republic as well. I went there, was going on a scuba diving outing or whatever, and we're in this like van truck thing driving down the road, and the driver literally ran a family with 2-3 kids on the scooter, a wife, a husband, whatever, everyone's piled on this scooter, and they just ran them off the road. They poof, right in the ditch, and they just kept going. And I'm like, we are not in America.
Yeah, dude.
But in Afghanistan too, they another thing I thought was amazing was I watched these people build their house from dirt.
Yeah.
And just they had a hole, and they would just like throw dirt in it with some water, mix it up, and grab that scoop of clay or whatever the hell it is, and just put it on the wall and smear it and keep stacking it up like that. And within a few days, they had built their house.
Yeah.
And I was, and you've been inside those things.
Yep.
They're actually like insulated well, you know.
They're probably insulated better than anything we have here.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, we shot rockets at those. Rockets and
they have
machine
a higher
guns,
ballistic rating too.
And they're fine. They just, we got a rocket shot at our house. We'll just fill it in with some mud.
Man, everybody's experience is different in Afghanistan, obviously, depending on where you're at and like what type of tribal conflict was going on, or if you had Taliban presence and whatnot. But where we were at, way up in northeastern Afghanistan, dude, I didn't fire my rifle one time in 6 months. Actually, 9 months, because we did 2 deployments. One was 6, one was 3. And I remember at the time just being like, fuck, dude, we're Rangers. Like, we're supposed to be over here killing people. And then our other platoon that was, 30 kilometers to the south or whatever, just killed 30 dudes last night. Like, you kept hearing all those stories. And we didn't get any of that. And I remember being frustrated, but looking back on it now, like, the people were fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The landscape was awesome. And their generosity, and like, they would always bring us food. They'd always be offering us like help on patrols and stuff. That the culture in Afghanistan was it was a stark contrast between the culture in Iraq. I got to Iraq, I felt like everyone wanted to kill us because they did, But Afghanistan, I look back on Afghanistan.
Afghanistan didn't really know like what was going on,
Yeah.
like out in a lot of those places. They're just simple people, man, living in their on their farms and doing their thing. And, a lot of them are not, I wouldn't say religious fanatics, they're just Muslim people, like, and, they're simple people. They're living a good life, or good enough to them. And I think we have too much comfort in America, and that's why there's like, I believe that's one of the reasons why we have so much anxiety and depression.
100%, dude. 100%.
And those people live a hard life over there, but they're happy. I watch the kids play. They're all happy. You know what I mean? And
that's a real weird concept when you try and like dissect that. Third world shitholes where people are literally fighting to survive,
but happy.
They don't have depression. They don't have suicide.
They don't have time for that.
Yeah. But I also think part of the human condition, like, we're wired to struggle and work hard and face adversity and fight saber-toothed tigers. Like, that's in our DNA.
Yeah.
And when you take away everything that has been like a big focus of our society and in our DNA, and now just everything comes easy.
Yeah.
Oh, here's your food.
And you start looking for things to be, looking for problems.
Yeah, because you need some type of adversity.
You don't have real problems.
Yeah, and I'm sure at some point we will segue into jiu-jitsu. But that's a huge thing that jiu-jitsu offers people, is like, it gives you, for the 90 minutes you're on the mat tangling with people, it's giving you that adversity, and it's making you overcome like some fears and some problems. And then when you're done, it's like, oh, fuck, I feel okay now.
Yeah, the thing I really enjoy about, jiu-jitsu and more so MMA, sparring and fighting is that I tell people it is a sense of therapy, and it's very relaxing to me, because at that moment, I'm kind of always, I think, just the type of people we are, we're always kind of like looking for the threat or what's, just that's how we are, and then when you're fighting or doing jiu-jitsu or whatever, that threat is right in front of you.
So yeah, you can put your focus on it. And it requires
all of your attention, all of your focus. You're not thinking about anything else in your life at that moment other than, I have to deal with this threat in front of me. I have to deal with this problem. And if I don't, then there's going to be some serious consequences, and they're going to be physical. Yeah. and you don't want that.
And like, even though it's your sparring partner or a buddy of yours, your brain understands that, but the body doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, I always feel like like we were talking before we hit record, you get a guy like Bushesha or Panza on top of you.
Yeah.
It starts to give you those, like, all those bells and whistles are going off, like fight or flight. It's like, fuck, dude, I can't do anything to this guy. He's bigger than me, he's stronger than me, and he's better than me. And it really makes you, like, you can feel those fight or flight hormones starting to kick in. And it's like, no, this is just Marcus. Like, I've known you for 5 years. Like, why are you making me feel this way? But it's because the body doesn't recognize that it's just Marcus. It's a gorilla that's killing you, you know?
Yeah. I was telling Greg right before this about with the time I rolled with Luis Panza, and I was out at Black House training with Kenny Johnson, and he had told me about Panza and everything, how good he was, and just the alpha male in you're just like, I'm just like, he's just a man, he's just another man. I'm gonna go at him, and do what I can. Like, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a while. I'm pretty good, like he's not just going to walk through me. And I couldn't have been more wrong.
Bro, it's such a humbling lesson.
Oh my God.
That you have to relearn.
And this is like after years of training and like going through that, everybody when they start jiu-jitsu goes through that humbling process of just getting demolished by smaller, like weaker people that are just better than you and know more, and they can tie you up in knots. That's how it was for me anyway.
Yep.
And that's what fascinated me about jiu-jitsu was, if this 130, 140 pound person can just tie me in a knot, like, imagine what I could do if I knew this stuff, So, and it didn't really bruise my ego, which I think it does for a lot of guys, but it made me want to learn more.
For sure.
I'd get tapped out, and I'm like, okay, let's go again.
Yeah.
While this lesson is still fresh in my mind, I want to try again. And see if I can not make the same mistake or something, or, and that happened to me for a long time. And
well, I think that's what separates, like, there's two ways to deal with somebody that can kick the shit out of you. You can just pretend that never happened and just go about your day, or you can dissect that and be like, okay, what do I have to do to make sure this never happens again?
Yeah.
And the only answer is thousands of hours of work.
It didn't like ever, I've never been a sore loser. I've never been the type to, like, I was just like, it would make me laugh. Like, God damn it. Like, how did he get me again?
Well,
it's
so
ridiculous.
Dude, I've told the story several times on the show, but I was deployed and a team guy, and his name was Dallas. And I'm not going to say his last name on the air, but he, at the time,
Texas.
At the time, he was a purple belt and a Muay Thai fighter. And he was 170. That's how much he weighed, but he was built like a George St. Pierre's 170, like a really, really good athlete.
I fight 170.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, he walked around at 170 though.
Okay.
And so he's like, hey man, you want to train? And I was 225 at the time, big, strong, good athlete, never lost a fight, but that's because I was fighting losers in the back of bars. Two very different things, And he did whatever he wanted to me. He just beat the shit out of me. And at a sparring pace, like, he wasn't trying to hurt me,
right?
But he was hitting me with leg kicks to where I couldn't stand up, and then jumping on top of me and strangling me and shit. And it was like, I couldn't even wrap my mind around what was going on. And so after that, I was like, dude, I want to train with you every single night for the rest of this deployment. And we did. And that was like, and then when I redeployed home, I found two gyms. I found an MMA gym and a jiu-jitsu gym. And it was just all in. It's like, dude, I can't let another man do that to me ever again,
Yeah.
But then fast forward 10 years or whatever it was, now probably 6 years, I got fast tracked to brown belt. Like, I got my brown belt in like less than 6 years. And that's because I was strong and a good athlete and could beat dudes in the gym.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you're a brown belt. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And so
you can't just be, a blue belt tapping out black belts left and right, because then people will look at you like you're sandbagging, and they're like, come on, man.
Yeah. And so I felt like,
but you don't have that knowledge of,
exactly right. A brown belt. I moved from Seattle as a brown belt down to Los Angeles. And that's when I joined Bushesha's gym. So, you can imagine what those guys were doing to me down there.
There's certain,
different
there's
animal.
levels to everything, and you know, black belts or whatever. You can get a black belt who got their black belt from whoever.
Yeah.
And it's just a colored belt. You
Bro,
know, who's
some
behind it is there's just levels to everything.
There's some black belts that I can literally do whatever I want to.
Mm-hmm.
Like they feel like I'm grappling my wife, you know? And then there's other black belts that do that to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not sure where.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, like you said, it's just a color that's around your waist. It doesn't really represent what you bring to the table, you know?
Yeah. And that's how I felt with Luis Ponza, man. And I was just like, I went into it like, okay, I know I've heard he's good, you know, and I'm gonna fucking come at him, and I'm not gonna let him just do what he wants to me. And I didn't have a choice. and I was trying, but he, you know, he's 6'2", 220, you know, and
super athlete,
one of
too.
the best in the world.
Yeah.
And you know, and I was trying, and he was tapping me out with stuff that like I didn't even know was a thing, or like we were transitioning, and all of a sudden during the transition at some point I was just like, tap.
Yeah.
You know?
Did he latch onto your feet at all?
And I don't remember, man. He just dominated me for
Because
like,
that's like a big part of his game.
for 5 minutes. I mean, he just fucked me up. And he was just, Tupac was on in the background. He's just, you know, singing along with the lyrics and just having a fun time. And I
Just totally making you feel
yeah.
like.
And I was just like, when we got done, I was just like, I thought maybe I haven't ever done jujitsu. I thought I have, but and like I went over to Kenny because he was on the sidelines just laughing, and I was like, bro, I mean, I just felt helpless, and he was like, don't worry, man. He's like, he makes everybody feel like that. But then, you know, and then I've now since then, you know, gone around the world and trained with some of the best, and trained with the Danaher Death Squad and Nogi. You know,
what was that like, dude?
Man, those guys are on a different level. You know, and they're essentially Nogi. You know, is their main focus with Danaher. And
Did you roll with Gordon Ryan?
Yeah.
So Gordon Ryan, who, if you're not familiar with him, is widely considered probably the best no-gi grappler in the world right now.
I'd say without a doubt.
And you know, like what me and Mitch were just talking about with Ponza and Buchecha, just absolutely smashing us and making us feel like day one white belts. When I watched him go with Buchecha, bro, he had an answer for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like just calm and controlling, and it was like, oh, the next level has arrived.
I think it's, you know, because the more you do jiu-jitsu, or at least the longer I've been in it, I realize like it is a thinking game as well. You know, it's not just a meathead, you know, knuckle dragging like I want it to be.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a strategy. There's, you know, it's a very complex thing. It literally is like chess.
Well,
you know?
and that's where the whole like Eddie Bravo nerd assassin thing is derived from, because there's a big percentage of people that participate in jiu-jitsu that are very intellectual, you know?
Yeah, that are not the typical jock athletes like we are, you know, but they're so smart, and they just learn the fundamentals, and there's just counters to things. Like when you do this, the answer is this, and when you do that, the answer is this. And if you are smart enough to remember all these things, and I think with the Death Squad, those guys follow around John Danaher like he is the Yoda, you know, and
that fucker is kind of like a Yoda.
He's incredibly intelligent, and he took his, you know, philosophy, all of his focus and everything, and he's extremely dedicated to jiu-jitsu and the martial art of it, and breaking down, you know, just like a chess player who is on another level of chess, you know, and they have counters to every move and everything that you do on the chessboard. You know, it's the same thing in jiu-jitsu, and John Danaher has taught those guys that essentially that philosophy. And Gary Tonin, Craig Jones, all those guys, they're learning from Yoda every day. And, you know, Gordon is also he's a big, strong athlete, as well as super intelligent with that jiu-jitsu. And I mean, they're just, when you're dedicated to something like that, and you actually put in that work, and stuff, like training 2-3 times a day, 7 days a week, you're going to surpass anyone who's a hobbyist or someone who is sort of dedicated.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, I'll train 5 days a week, and that's a lot. That's dedication. But when you're training 2 or 3 times a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah, that's 21 practices a week.
You're just going
versus 5.
You're just going to surpass everybody with the time on the mat and the repetitions and that knowledge, and it just getting the more and more reps you put in. It's just muscle memory, and that's what you saw, you know. And Gordon is far from humble, you know, because he's like, dude, I don't have to be.
Hey, I like it. I like all this
shit. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. But he's like, you know, he's like, yeah, being humble is for people who suck. Like, he's like, I can say this shit because I back it up, you know? And it's like, well, you can't really argue with it, you know? And he talks about how, you know, when some people talk about, you know, that's not a good look. Jiu-jitsu is about respect and this and that. He's like, bullshit, you know? They used to storm dojos and fucking beat up people and bully.
Yeah, dude,
and that's true.
The old school, like, so I had when I was training in Huntington Beach at Joel's gym one day, a red belt came in. His name was Master Mergel. And he told stories. Him and Elio grew up together. Mm-hmm. He's like, man, everybody knows the Elio Gracie of today, of like, you know, the grandfather of jiu-jitsu, and like the smaller, weaker attacker having an answer for the bigger, stronger opponent. He goes, when we were kids, Elio had the devil in him, because we would go around and he would find guys to fight every single day and go to like different martial arts academies and like bang on the door, come out in the street and fight me. You know, like they were wild motherfuckers, dude.
Yeah. And I heard that they used to film the fights, or like essentially bet with like, hey, you take your gym's leader, whatever, and we'll fight and we'll film it, and whoever wins the fight gets the rights to the video. And that's how they kind of like
the Gracie Challenge videos, like the old school VHS ones.
Right.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
And that's how they kind of got like credibility for their martial art. And then obviously the UFC.
Yeah.
UFC won.
That's what catapulted them.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, humility, like everything in life, is a fucking balance, right? But if you put in the work and you're the top dog, that's okay. You know what I mean?
And you know, like Michael Jordan, did you watch that documentary?
I'm like
Save the Last
3
Dance?
or 4 episodes in.
Oh
so
my
yeah.
God. How could you not, dude? I couldn't stop watching that.
Yeah, no, it's badass, dude.
Like, there's not a whole lot of people that really inspire me or, you know, motivate me and this and that. When I watched that documentary, like, I just wanted to like run through walls, and I was just like, dude, I'm not doing enough.
And I don't think anyone realized how bad Scottie Pippen got fucked.
Yeah. But Michael Jordan, you know, he seemed like humble-ish on camera and stuff with the press.
And then he was a fucking monster.
But he was far from that on the court.
Yeah.
And, you know, and he let you know, and he would just destroy the best of the best and just make them, you know, listening to these other Hall of Famers talk about playing with Michael Jordan, it was just pretty amazing, you know?
Yeah. It's incredible. Anybody that gets to the top of their craft, that's fucking fascinating. You know?
I've always been amazed by it, because I don't have one, I wouldn't say the discipline, but I like too many things to dedicate to one thing.
Yeah.
And in the sense, like, I have discipline, I'm doing all kinds of things and I'm putting in work with all kinds of different areas. But it's when you're doing that, it's just the progression is so much slower than if you just put all your time into one thing and you're training all the time.
Dude, it's funny. Like, I feel like you're speaking directly to me right now, because I have this conversation with myself a lot, because I'm a pretty good shooter. I'm pretty good at jiu-jitsu. I'm pretty good at the guitar, but I'm not great at anything.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why, you know? And then I asked myself, like, well, if you do want to truly become great at jiu-jitsu, everything else has to be put on the back burner. And is that really the life that I want to live?
Exactly.
And I'm always in like turmoil over it because I go back and forth. It's like, no, I want to be fucking phenomenal at jiu-jitsu.
Because you know your potential. And like, I know, people ask all the time about the UFC and this and that. And I'm like, I know without a doubt I could fight in the UFC and be, one of the top people in the UFC. But that would require me to sacrifice all of my other things and solely make that my focus, because when you're doing anything at the highest level, you have to be all in and dedicated to it. And I enjoy having a company, I enjoy running a nonprofit charity, I enjoy having a life, outside of that, means visiting family and traveling and doing this and that. And that, to me, like, the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. It's it's like, oh, okay, I'm pretty good with being really good, or like, I'm pretty good at jiu-jitsu, I'm pretty good at striking, I'm pretty good, like, I can hold my own in a fight for the most part. You know what I mean? And like, anything I've ever attempted, I've been pretty good at.
And I was actually going to ask you that.
But I'm not like a master at anything.
What is your goals with fighting? Like, do you even have them, or are you just enjoying the journey, taking fights when they make sense? I've never
really had a goal with fighting, honestly. I've always just enjoyed fighting. I've just always, I to this day, like, I hate everything about MMA except the actual fight.
What do you mean by that? Like the dieting and the
cutting
training?
Weight. I hate
running sprints.
Yeah, I don't like cutting weight. I hate that shit. And it's essentially necessary, because if you don't do it, you're at a
fighting
huge
up
advantage.
2 weight classes.
And are a huge disadvantage. And the anxiety, if you want to call it that, or maybe just, it's not even anxiety, it's more annoying. Just like knowing when you have a fight, it's like you have a fight that's 8 weeks out, and now you can't help but think about it. It's in the back of your head, and anything can happen in a fight. Fighting is one of the most dynamic sports in the world, and it's got the highest highs and the lowest lows, because you have no one else in there to carry the burden of a loss, like a team sport, like basketball. Oh, we didn't put the ball in the hoop as many times as the other team, or and it's like there's different factors in that. In the cage, it's you and the vessel you were brought into this universe with against another man and his vessel, and there's no one in there to help you. It is what it is. Ready, go. And the consequences is, like, I didn't put the ball through the hoop as many times. No, I just got my ass physically beat in front of the world. Yeah. So it's there's a lot of pressure in that sense. But and then when you win, the highs are super high. Mm-hmm. And but to me, and I've lost 2 fights. I've redeemed one since, and and I was planning on fighting the other guy this year.
So what's your record?
I was like 15-1 as an amateur, and then I'm 2-1 as a pro.
Okay.
So the last fight I did, I redeemed my loss as a pro.
Got it.
And but the other loss I had was as an amateur, and I was a 170 champion and a 185 champion, and I had come up to defend my 185 belt. He had come down from 205. We met, and it was just, I lost in the second round, and I, was wanting to just try to redeem that loss, kind of like a George St. Pierre.
Yeah. Yep.
And, but then COVID happened and all that stuff. So, but like I said, I've never really had any huge goals with fighting. I've always just done it for fun. Mm-hmm. And I started fighting, like, as a kid. I've been fighting my whole life. And, my little brother was a year younger than me. He was fat growing up, and my parents were both super aggressive people, and they were like, your brother's going to get picked on in school, and you better fucking protect him.
Oh shit, they put the burden on you, huh?
Oh, I loved it though.
That's okay.
And
how much younger was he?
A year and a half.
Okay.
But he was a grade below me.
Got it.
So, and I took
You're
that
like
to
challenge
heart.
accepted.
I took it to heart, and I literally just beat the fuck out of people growing up in school, like, all the time.
That's crazy, man. Because you said you're 32, right?
31.
31. I've talked about this a lot too, because when I grew up, fighting was normal in high school and middle school. Like that was just part of life.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it is in other parts of the country. But dude, if the fucking kids get in a fight here, they get arrested now. It's ridiculous. Cops come to the school and then they get expelled. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And
it's a soft society.
Yeah, most kids now in high school have never even been in a fight.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, good.
Well, there was a lot of SEALs in my platoon that had never been in a fight.
Okay. So I guess that's,
I to me, it was normal, you know, like, just, and I wasn't a bully by any means. I bullied bullies, you know, and I was just very protective growing up, obviously because of that. And yeah, to me, that was normal, fighting all the time. And then when I got in the Navy, when I joined the Navy and was, you know, going to go be a SEAL, and then all of a sudden that was the first time where like people were fucking talking shit in like boot camp and stuff. And I'm like, this is weird. Like you're talking shit. And normally I would just beat the shit out of you. And I really want to, but really bad, but I can't because I'll get kicked out of, you know, the program.
Yeah, it's gonna mess your
and
professional
I'm like,
goals up.
Fuck, like that was a really hard struggle for me, honestly. Like, and I called it like the Navy shield. I'm like, oh, they got this fucking Navy shield here saving them, you know. And it was such a strange concept to me because I'm like, this fucking motherfucker right here.
You know, he doesn't want to fight you.
Like I was just so baffled. Like, how are you're saying this stuff? And like, I don't know. Like, if I didn't care enough about this contract or SEAL thing that I'm pursuing, like, I would just beat the shit out of you. And that's like a real consequence.
But bro,
and they just like, that's never happened to them in their life because they've
a big part of that.
They've never experienced
it's these right here, dude.
Oh my
it's
God.
Your cell phone. Because
social media is
people are used to fucking being rude as shit to other people with zero consequences.
Yeah.
And that is not how it's worked since the beginning of time, you know?
It's very strange.
Like, dude, you just said like you weren't a bully, you bullied bullies. But I always say that there's an aspect of bullying that is good for society. And I mean, no, I don't want to see any little kid get hurt or get picked on. Like, I'm not advocating that, but from my own personal experience, I remember a couple incidents where I was bullied, and then I had that fucking talk with myself. Never again. I'm not going to fucking, if that guy walks by me and puts his hands on me, it's fucking on. And like, I remember having this talk with myself in the 7th grade. This dude walked by me and like bumped me into a wall locker, right? Fucking end of the world. And dude, it makes you kind of like come to terms with where you stand on things and comes to realizations. And so I remember I drew the line in the sand that day. I said, I don't care who it is or what it is, from this point forward, if a man puts his hands on me, we're fighting. Period.
But not everybody has that mentality, you know, and that's kind of led to, honestly, like where you are today as an adult, you know, and that's where like the thing that kind of set you off was that video, you know, the viral video you posted, and that was the line in the sand. Like, you know what, I'm not gonna fucking tolerate this, and there's a line here. If you cross it, this is the consequence. And that's how I live my life 100%.
Bro, I think drawing lines in the sand are something that everybody should do. Because if you have opinions on things and you stand for different things, like there has to be a point where you say, okay, enough is enough. No fucking more. And a lot of people will say that stuff. Like, dude, in the lunchroom at my work, every single cop there was like, yeah, this is bullshit. I can't believe that a surfer's getting arrested. Like, we were watching it on CNN as those boats were chasing that dude around the Malibu pier, right? Yeah. Well, every single cop I know is saying these things, but why aren't they being vocal about it? I wasn't hearing one cop stand up and say, hey, that's not what we do. And so I was like, I got to fucking put that message out there.
Yeah.
Because I wanted it to come from a cop and to go speaking to other cops. That's the whole reason, because my chain of command's like, well, you really shouldn't have done it in your patrol car in uniform. I was like, if I did that in my backyard with a fucking hoodie on, it wouldn't have resonated the same.
Exactly.
It needed to come from a person who is wearing the uniform and is serving and protecting. Like, it has to come from that person. And fuck, dude, like, so many cops fucking rallied behind me, but you still see cops doing bullshit right now. Here we are 8 months later, going in, closing businesses and fucking arresting bar owners. Like, it's fucking asinine.
That's
dude.
why I did the same thing with, when the Black Lives Matter protests were getting just crazy out of hand, and they were, vandalizing everything. They were knocking down all these statues. They were fucking with, all this stuff, burning down buildings, looting stores, and everything like that.
And getting a fucking free pass
Yeah.
for all of it, dude.
Yeah, and to me, I was like, what the fuck is going on in our country right now? Nobody is standing up to this shit, and everyone's just expecting that the police are gonna be the ones to take care of it. But the police, their hands were tied, a lot of them, by their commands, and
Well, most of them.
yeah. And because I have a lot of friends who are police, and they were telling me, like, we're being told to stand down. We're being told to stay out, a couple 100 yards back and just let them do their thing. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And like,
it's so asinine that our logical minds can't even fucking wrap our brains around that.
And in Virginia Beach, there was a protest that happened, and I was out of town, and it happened down at the oceanfront, and they lit, a couple buildings on fire. They broke all the windows down the strip and was looting stores and shit like that. And I just couldn't believe, I'm like, in my fucking backyard, this is my town. Like, and I'm hearing the police that I'm friends with saying this, and all of the military are essentially being told to not get involved. Like, all of the team guys I know are being told to, they can't do anything, stay out of it, blah, blah, blah. And to me, I'm just like, well, who the fuck is going to do something about it? Like, it has to be us.
Yeah,
so
it has to be.
It has to be. So that's why for me, that was the line in the sand. And they had talked about doing another protest, and that they were going to go vandalize the police statue down there in the Navy SEAL monument. And I said, yeah, I'll meet you there, motherfuckers. And, and I went down there walked down the fucking boardwalk right behind the rally with my kit on, with my fucking rifle, and went to that statue and threw up a flag, basically, to, hey, like, to the rest of America, I don't know who you think is coming to stand up to this bullshit, but it needs to be us. And I can't just sit here and talk about it. I'm going to lead from the front. And that's why I went there and did that, and it worked. A lot of people, kind of were looking for guidance. I think a lot of Americans, there's a lot of pissed off patriots in this country that are looking to be led.
Well, I've been getting a lot of emails over the last 3 months looking for guidance. Exactly what you were saying. People are like, what do we do? When do we fight back? When do we take the fight to the, like, corrupt politicians?
I can't believe it hasn't happened already.
Or to BLM. And, like, man, it's such a nuanced thing, because something is going to happen. I mean, I don't think there's anyone in the country that doesn't think something is going to happen at some point.
If you don't, you're living under a rock.
Like, there's a tipping point that's approaching, you know? But I was talking to one of my buddies who's a unit guy, and I was talking to him on the phone the other day. And this guy was like a mentor to me when I was in Iraq. Very tactically sound. One of those dudes, his brain's like a GPS, and he just knows what to do. He makes the right calls at the right time. Just fucking tactical stud, right? And so I'm always very interested in his opinion. And he's like, Greg, listen to me. In the unit, what we call the period of time that we're experiencing right now, he goes, is implementing tactical patience. He goes, because here's the reality of the situation. He goes, there's a lot of evil and corruption inside of politics right now. We all know that. There's a lot of evil and corruption inside of society right now with, like, the Antifa movements, the BLM, like all the gross stuff that we just saw plaguing our country for the last 6 months. He goes, but if we go on the offense right now, a guy like you or a guy like me, if you literally go on the offense, America will give every single resource they have available to putting you in a cage or killing you. Mm-hmm. That's what they will do.
Yeah.
And he goes, and so you need to exercise what I call tactical patience. He goes, the tipping point is coming. And he goes,
you'll know when it
yeah.
happens.
And he goes, you will know when it happens.
It's like the shot heard around the world.
Exactly. And he goes, but if you're the one that's trying to be the shot heard around the world, there's a good chance that you're going to be fucking a martyr. Yep. And then you're either killed or you're locked in a cage. He's like, we need guys like you for when the shit goes south. Mm-hmm. So he goes, exercise patience. Don't look for, okay, when is the right time? Because he goes, there will be no doubts.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how I feel as well.
And so hearing that from a dude like him is like, okay.
And it's true though. We are better served not as the first person to be martyred, but to lead when it's inevitably here and there's no doubt and people are. You need guidance right now. It's like, and you can't just sit on the sidelines and watch. You have to get involved, and that's where we will come in.
In all honesty, there's a part of me that's excited for that. You know what I'm saying? Dude?
I can't fucking wait
because like that's just how we're wired. You can't train for war your entire fucking, during your entire youth in your 20s. And then just turn that off. So it's
like we were talking about, like we were talking yesterday about how if we were to go back into our units or whatever, like today, knowing what you know now and the maturity that you've experienced through mm-hmm. life and this and that, and we would be such better operators. And
100%.
And so, but now if this shit kicks off, like
we bring that maturity.
We bring that guidance, we bring that maturity, we bring that leadership, we bring that ability. And not only that, how many times in Afghanistan or Iraq were you thinking to yourself, like, if this shit was in my backyard, like if the roles were reversed,
100%.
If I was the Taliban, I would be killing the fuck out of these American insurgents with ease.
Yep. I'd be posted up on some hide site.
I couldn't help but think about that all the time. Like, but I think that makes a good warrior, soldier, or whatever. You have to think like your enemy or whatever.
Of course.
But I just couldn't help but like think about it in America and being there and just thinking like, oh my God, it would be wild and fun.
It'll be radical. What's strange is that
when you have nothing to lose either, when, right now we have businesses, we have this and that,
kids and stuff,
you got a family, this and that, but like when shit is just chaos and it's like, fuck it, life as you know it is no longer this fairy tale story that we live in America right now. Now this shit is on our front door and we have to deal with this.
Well, and that's because
when the rules go away, it's going to get fucking gnarly very fast.
And a lot of people think that's out of the realm of possibility. It's like,
it happens all
read a
over
fucking book.
It's happening all over the world right now, today. And the people think that like human beings in other countries aren't the same as you and I, like they don't have a family. They don't have a value of life. They don't, like, and the thing I tell people is if you think that shit can't happen now, think about the Revolutionary War. Okay. These guys, they didn't even have freedom. They didn't have America. They had an idea.
Yep.
They had an idea of what a free country could be, away from government tyranny.
Yep.
And they believed in this idea so much that they organized and came to a point where they overthrew the fucking government and fought and, created this country that we have been so blessed and fortunate to live in. And
that's what I can't wrap my head around.
There's so many people today that have no idea what it took to get to this point and how many people have fought and killed and died for this, and they just take it for granted because they feel entitled to this freedom and that saying freedom is not free. It's for a reason. And
it's like you said, America is a fairy tale.
100%.
It's been so far removed from violence and chaos and famine and all the things that just ravage human societies. that people think that can't happen here now, you know?
I was watching the Patriot a little while ago, and you know, one of the scenes really kind of hits home was when they're just in their house, you know, and they look out their window out in the field, and you see these, you know, two groups walking towards each other, and the guns are going off, and it's a battle, you know, and it's like, that's so far removed from anyone in America's like thinking that that's a possibility.
Yeah.
And it absolutely is.
No, and it's like bringing up like our businesses and my family and shit. Like, I put deployment and like the warrior lifestyle behind me because I wanted to focus on that stuff. Mm-hmm. But we're going to reach a tipping point where actually that is the stuff that's going to be on the line. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
If I want my children to have the future they deserve, I'm going to have to put it on the line.
And you got to think, like, you know, we were in different mindsets when we were deploying and in the military, and that whole narrative we bought into. And, you know, it's like you think you're doing something good, you're doing it for America, you're doing it for freedom, all this stuff, this and that. And you're willing to go overseas and put your life on the line. And, you know, it's not just talk at that point. Like, people are really dying. You're seeing your friends die, get shot, blown up, and, you know, killing. And, like, these are the highest consequences at the highest level, you know. And when you're willing to do that, again, for an idea and a belief of something, you think, and you're willing to go overseas and do that in a foreign land, you think that those same people aren't 100% willing and ready to do that in their own backyard to protect the people and their home.
It's like our brain's on the same frequency, because I've said that almost verbatim plenty of times. I'm like, you got to realize you send all these fucking men and women to fight on the other side of the world for other people's freedom, because that's what they sold it to us as, Iraqi freedom, you know, enduring freedom. We're giving these people freedom.
Total bullshit.
And now you're going to take my freedom away? Like, bro, in Washington State, we're not supposed to be doing what we're doing right now because we're in a public facility within 6 feet of each other without a mask on. You know what I mean? Like, our freedoms are being fucking trampled left and right, dude.
It's unbelievable to me.
What's unbelievable to me, more than the fact that they're being trampled, is that there's a large percentage, maybe it's not large, maybe they're just the vocal minority,
that aren't resisting,
that are like agreeing with it. They're trying to keep you safe, dummy. Follow the science. And it's like, they will just blindly follow orders no matter how asinine they are.
Yeah.
And it's like, where are we going to fucking go with all this, you know?
And they talk about following science and this and that, and it's like, it's how many people need to say this virus has a 99.9% survival rate. Like, what in the fuck?
What else needs to be said? You know what I mean?
What do people think the world is? You know, there's a lot of things in life are you have that same percentage, like driving. Yeah. You know, or
dude, being a human being comes with inherent risks.
100%.
And shy of locking yourself in a room, everything you do exposes you to a certain amount of risk. Now, if you're fucking a wingsuit flyer, you're going to understand that my risk is substantially higher than somebody that likes to ride their bike down the Centennial Trail, right? But you choose what activities, you mitigate the risk, and then the chips will fall where they may. And what do they think? We're all gonna live to 100 if you don't get COVID?
And how many people, you know, die of smoking cigarettes every year, and no one gives a shit.
No one, bro.
Alcohol. No one gives a shit. Obesity. No one gives a shit.
That's exactly what I've been fucking saying for the last 6 months. The government is pretending they care about your health. They care. We want to keep you safe. We don't want you to get sick. And then look at the shit that they're doing. And look at the shit that they're investing time and resources and money into. I was literally reading it this morning, laying in bed, comparing heart disease deaths to COVID deaths. And they are double. You know what I'm saying? And COVID deaths. That's a whole other topic. You know what I mean?
How many people have you heard die of the flu this year?
Yeah, exactly. Fucking zero, right?
Or any other illness for that matter. All you hear is COVID, 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 COVID.
But like, if you want to act like you're concerned about people's health, well, let's really start educating people on fitness.
Let's close
nutrition.
The gyms.
Yeah, exactly. Like either one of us got COVID tomorrow, we'll be probably training again by next week.
Dude,
and that's because we put a lifetime of effort of eating healthy foods and being physically active. And there's no one's saying a fucking peep about this.
Well, the real reason we're not worried is because of the smashing greens.
There you go. That's right. You smash your greens and you'll be good to go, right? You should just market some of your supplements as like anti-COVID.
Well, did you see the commercial I made where we had the COVID zombies coming at me?
Yeah, that's right.
Throwing the greens at them.
I did, man. Well, dude, that's a good little segue into what you're doing with your business, because it's interesting, man. Like we talked before we got on the air, I can see that you're a grinder, and
not on grinder.
No, not on. Yeah, not on grinder. Mitch is a grinder, meaning like, dude, every day you're working, staying busy, promoting your products, doing your Mitch show, like staying, like if you're active on your social media, which I mean, you have what, 130 something thousand followers.
Yeah.
So when you post stuff, people see it and it stays fresh in people's minds.
Sometimes
if you're not being shadow banned.
I am being shadow banned so hard, man. It sucks because it is without a doubt affecting my sales and my business. You know what I mean? And there's so many people have been like, man, you just need to ease up on talking about the political stuff and the COVID stuff and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, this is bigger than me and my business. Yep. Like, this is bigger than being a monetary thing, you know? Like,
well, it's because we believe it's going to lead to violence at some point. So if you're not talking about it and you're not on top of it.
And I'm like, the thing is, quit being fucking scared. I'm trying to lead by example. Like, guys like Ian Smith, you know.
Fucking stud.
Yeah. We need more people to. Have you not learned anything from the Black Lives Matter rallies? Like, there is power in numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
The majority. And like, you know, I'm not going to just do what everyone else is doing and say, well, I'm worried about me and my concerns and like my business and my bills. And it's like, you know, I have those same worries, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. This is too important to be quiet on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
this
care.
This is your hardwired fucking patriot, dude.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't care what the fucking consequences are. I'm going to speak the truth, and I'm going to say it fearlessly and ferociously, and I'm unapologetically, you know? And because it is true. I'm not saying shit that's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and more people need to hear it, and maybe like my hope is that more people will kind of see someone like me or you and say, you know what, like maybe feel safe saying it behind us as like a shield, or like taking the brunt of it, you know, like guys like Ian Smith taking the brunt of it, or whatever. Guys like, you know, we're leading by example, and it is absolutely, you know, affecting my sales and my business, but it's too important.
Well, something that I've been telling people is courage is contagious. You know, it's hard for a lot of people to be the first person to stand up, but it's a lot easier to be the second or the third or the fourth. And I'm not even saying that like disparagingly. Like,
sometimes it's the first follower is very important.
Yeah. And so that is why I'm running practice and I'm being open about it, because I could just be like, you know what? Don't check in at the gym, no pictures on social media, but we're going to keep training to keep your health and your physical health and your mental health and everything on order. But
what would they do if every gym in America just opened?
That's exactly right. That's why I feel like, no, I'm not going to hide the fact that I'm training. Like, I deployed 14 times, dude. And now I can't even fucking, like, I built this gym that we're sitting in 2011 from the ground up. Like, we poured the foundation and shit. And here we are 10 years later. And this facility probably trains, we're like 200 people that train here, right? Nobody can tell me to shut this gym down and just have those 200 people be out what they need. Like, they're members here because they believe in this place, because we offer a training program and a protocol that is beneficial to their mental health, to their physical health. And not only am I not going to shut it down, but I'm going to tell anybody that says I have to fuck themselves. And we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, Molan LeBay.
And bro, I mean, to my own fault, I understand. Like, there's a part of me that's like, man, I hope somebody comes here and tries to arrest me. I fucking hope so. But that's just me wanting to be confrontational, you know?
I'm extremely confrontational. Man.
I mean, that's just part of who I am. But at the end of the day, we've received a couple letters and a phone call saying, hey, you were reported. You have to shut down. Yeah, okay. And they didn't call me. They called, they sent the email to my gym's email, but the phone call went to one of the CrossFit coaches, just because they don't know who's in charge of what here. You know what I mean? And so they just Google CrossFit and called and like said, this is L and I, and we've been reported that blah, blah, blah. And I was like, did you tell them to fuck themselves? He's like, no, I just said, you know, blah, blah, blah. But, oh, they threatened him with a physical audit. The next step is a physical audit of your facility. All right, we'll see you when you get here, motherfuckers. You know? And I'm going to humiliate them. I'm going to hog tie them. I'm going to flex cuff them and take pictures and put it on Instagram. Fuck you, you know? And so, yeah, there's a part of me that hopes that happens. Because again, if people see that stuff,
they need to.
Like, dude, Ian Smith fucking went and served drinks at Mac's Public House because they arrested him in his own bar the night before. Yeah. And he got on Instagram and goes, everybody show up.
Oh, I did too. I reposted it and I said, if you're in New York, fucking be there.
How many people showed up? Do you know?
It was over 1,000.
Yeah.
Easy.
Because I saw some of the footage and there were cops just standing there not doing anything.
And that's what the fuck they're talking about. There's 1,000 people. What?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? I don't care if there's 10 fucking armed guards there or armed police there. You're not gonna stop 1,000 pissed off patriots. They will literally, you know, you might be able to shoot a few of them, and then you will get fucking eaten alive.
Yeah, exactly. It'll look like a fucking scene out of The Walking Dead.
And I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't want to be anywhere with facing 1,000 people. I don't care if I had 5 of the most savage people next to me with rifles,
with 240s, with fucking 5,000 rounds with linked together,
1,000 pissed off people in front of me. That's a death sentence.
Yeah.
You might take some people with you when you go, but at the end of the day, I don't think there's enough people that truly believe in this COVID shit to fight to the death for it, in the sense like against it.
Well, that's the interesting side of this, is like there's obviously two sides,
and if there are, bring it.
But there's two sides, and one side is very capable, and I'm not saying this to like make me feel better about the situation.
Yeah. It's just the reality.
The other side is not capable. You know what I mean? Like, there was a dude, I don't know if you saw it, I shared it in my story a couple days ago, who was bitching at people at stores for not having a mask on. And then he walked out into the parking lot, and he walked all the way across the parking lot, right, to confront somebody about a mask, and they beat the shit out of him.
Good.
Yeah, bro. And he even said he's this fucking dumpy looking dude, and he's like, well, I walked over there to try and explain to them that there is science that supports wearing a mask. And the guy stood up and kind of got in my face. And so I flipped his hat off his head. And then he started punching me. And he goes, I curled into the fetal position and just knew I was going to die. Bro, I'll show you the video when we're done recording. Dude. But it's like, bro, you don't get to walk across a parking lot and start being confrontational with someone and not understand that this might end up in a fist fight.
It's the weirdest thing that, like, people, I think the people that have never felt a, you know, as an alpha male and like as a capable fighter, like I know that I can handle most situations with a human being. Like, physically, if shit went down, I could more than likely fuck up the 99% of the population.
Yep.
You know, and that gives me a certain level of like, I don't need to go do anything with this or that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but these people who don't have that, they don't possess that, you know what I mean? So then they get this little bit of authority to enforce, you know, like I can be a masked police guy, you know, and like, and I can say, hey, you need to be doing this. And again, our society is so comfortable with just saying shit without consequence. And like guys like you and I, like I'm super fucking confrontational, especially with this mask shit. And you know, and I'm telling you,
bro,
like,
I can't even imagine if someone did that.
If people come up to me, like I promise you, your percentage of getting your ass fucking beat to a pulp is monstrously greater than you dying of COVID. So just trust and believe that. Yeah, that's science.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that this is the science. Yeah. No, man.
And I make a fucking big deal about the mask shit wherever I go. I really do. Unless it's like I'm absolutely mandatory, like I have to get on this flight and I have to go somewhere or whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'll fucking play this stupid game. But even then I'm combative about it.
Well, the thing that I hate
is not about your fucking safety. Businesses, if it was about safety in the slightest bit, I would comply.
Yeah. But businesses are being put in a weird spot, right? Where they're now the enforcers.
But that's a choice.
Oh, you're right. You're right. It is a choice. And like up here, guess what? Nobody wears masks.
I won't let people in my store without a fucking mask on.
No, we had one person come up here one day with a mask on, and then she kind of looked around and realized, oh, there's 40 other people in this gym without a mask. I'll just put this in my pocket, you know? But no, it's weird that the businesses are being put in a position where they're being asked to enforce this. That's not their fucking job. That's not fucking Target's job or fucking like Olive Garden's job. Yeah. Like their job's to serve food.
I went to REI and you know they have a fucking 18-year-old at the door.
Did you go to the one downtown Seattle?
No, in Virginia.
Oh, okay.
And
they're you know, terrible.
You have to wear a mask as soon as I walk because I'm not wearing a mask. And he's you have to wear a mask. I said, is this your job? Are they paying you right now to tell people to put a fucking mask on? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I promise you, they don't pay you enough to deal with someone like me. And he's like, sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. And I said, I'm not fucking going anywhere.
Yeah.
I said, go get your fucking manager. And I just went and because I'm about to buy $1,000 worth of shit. Mm-hmm. So you can either fuck off or, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's craziness, dude. But it's, I mean.
But yeah, man, I'm not allowed to fly on American Airlines.
Tell that story, dude.
I bought a ticket. I was flying first class, and we had just gotten on the plane. I was wearing my Defund the Media shirt. That's like my go-to when I fly. Just flying my flag. And this was a little while ago, and before they had made it like, you know, a hard line of no one can travel without whatever. And I had the little bandana thing because I'd already gotten into a confrontation on a previous flight, and I just fucking refused to wear it and was like, I have a medical condition, you know, this and that, and just caused a fucking scene and whatever. So this was a different flight, same airline, and I had a bandana on, and the guy, I was just playing on my phone, and he had come by, and he was like, you need to put your mask on. So I just like put it over my face, didn't answer him, nothing, didn't acknowledge him. Then he walks down the aisle, and he comes back, and he goes, you need to have your mask on. I said, this is a mask. I said, it's over my face and nose. What do you want? You want it tighter? I said, this is a mask. And he goes, you need to wear it over your face and nose, over your mouth, or over your mouth and nose the whole flight. And if you want to have an attitude about it, you can get your ass off this plane. In a very, dainty sort of
flamboyant
manner. And I said, I can get my ass off this plane. I said, let me tell you something. You don't know who you're talking to, and if you speak to me like that again, I'm gonna smack the shit out of you in front of everyone on this fucking plane. And then obviously,
so he was not a pro MMA fighter, apparently.
I guess not. I thought I could take him. I felt confident in my ability.
It wasn't Panza.
And no, could have been though. You never know. Jiu-jitsu. But no, so then he ran up to the pilot and said he didn't feel safe, or whatever. And we were about to take.
He can be confrontational to you, but you can't be back to him.
And I'm like, you know. So then they pulled the plane because we were about to take off, and they pulled it back in to.
Oh, you're causing problems now.
Oh yeah, kick me out the plane. And all the first class passengers are like, just wear your mask, just wear your mask. And I said, look, are you fucking serious right now? I said, you guys all just heard him swear at me.
Yeah.
And like, because they're all concerned about themselves. They just want to go to where they're trying to go. Yep. And I was just like, all right, this is about to get wild. We're going to cause a scene now. And, and then they had the security come on the plane and everything like that. And I fucking flipped out and caused a scene. And
dude, is there a recording of this anywhere?
No, I have a little bit of it on my phone. But that was like, as we're getting off, because they put like 3 people in between me and that flight attendant because I was trying to get into his face. And, because I'm like, if I'm going to get off this plane,
make it worth it.
Yeah. So then, and I realized I was never going to be able to fly an American Airlines.
You know
again.
what? Fuck American Airlines, dude.
Fuck American Airlines.
Like, you saw that video of them throwing the 2-year-old off?
That was United.
Oh, that was United?
Yeah. Fuck all the airlines. Fuck all the airlines. And then,
I'll tell you what, though. I've flown Alaska the last couple weeks, and my kids were on the flights without masks on, and the flight attendants are real cool to them. Like, we didn't have any of that. Because, dude, my kids are 5, 8, and 11. And so my younger 2, if you have fucking kids, you understand what I'm saying. Good luck keeping a fucking 5-year-old to cover their face for a fucking flight. It's not going to happen. And that's why I was so, like, appalled by that fucking United video. Because that wasn't a 5-year-old. That was a 2-year-old. That's still a fucking baby. Like, a 2-year-old does not follow directions at all. Yeah. They do what they want,
Yeah, and I had another incident on Delta Airlines where they were just bothering me or whatever, and I actually was wearing the mask, but I got on the plane without it, and I was on the phone talking, and they were like bothering me the whole fucking time, so I ended up putting it on, and then they sent more people on, like, sir, are you gonna wear your mask the whole time? And I had my mask on when they came and like said, like, are you planning on wearing your mask the entire flight? And I'm like, why are you bothering me?
You're like, yeah,
and
look at my face.
They're like, well, sir, you're getting confrontational with the flight attendants. I'm like, because you're bothering me. Go away. My face is covered. My mask is on. And they're like, it's for your safety and the safety of others. So no, it's not.
God,
it's
dude.
not about your safety. Quit saying that. It's not about your safety. Do you think look at your mask? It has fucking holes on the side of it where do you think that that's stopping coronavirus?
Yeah,
it's not.
Dude. And like, again, it's fucking asinine to me that the people that are like defending this narrative, that's like their hill that they'll die on,
Crazy.
But why? Why are they? Why?
And I'm like, man, when this shit pops off, when it's inevitable and this and that,
you're first to go, motherfucker.
You flight attendants better just fucking hide.
Yeah, dude. No, it's fucking. It's so fucking crazy,
you remember
dude.
AOC? But we need to make a list of these people.
The Trumpers or whatever.
Oh, you need to make a list? Roger.
Yeah.
You're not on anyone's list.
Dude, there was, did you hear that congresswoman from Detroit a couple weeks ago that was like, this is a message to all you Trumpies out there.
Yep. She got in trouble for
that. Yeah. But I was like, where's this fat bitch fucking come off like being confrontational to dudes like us? It makes no sense, dude.
Yeah.
And that is why
they live in a fairy tale.
That is why I keep saying, dude, it's not fucking sustainable. Like, it's just the 2 ideas that we're dealing with in our country are on a vastly different trajectory, and we're getting farther and farther apart every fucking day.
Yeah.
And so, like, I just told my wife this morning, over the next month, I don't think I want to travel. I don't think I want to be too far from the kids, because I think the fucking whole inauguration thing could be what fucking kicks this shit off.
Yeah.
All right. So what's your prediction on what takes place on Inauguration Day? or the days or weeks preceding.
Man, it's so hard to, there's so many different scenarios I think that could play out, but I don't know if we're quite at the tipping point yet.
Yeah.
You know, to where if Trump fucking threw up the flag of just like, it's on, let's go. You know, it's us versus them. Like, you know, but the whole election really, the whole election thing really, I don't know if worried me is the right phrase, but it's alarming that, to me, there's so much evidence like a blatant election fraud in so many different, you know, avenues. And then like when you look at the big picture of what's going on, like how, you know, we all know this COVID shit is it
was weaponized.
It's weaponized, yeah. and it's being used as a tool. And to me, it was like the segue for mail-in voting, you know, and that there's been over 1,100 convicted cases of, you know, voter fraud by mail. And just the blatant evidence of voter fraud and how much it was. And not to mention, just look at, in your lifetime, have you ever seen a president with the kind of support that Donald Trump has?
Yeah, no.
Like a rock star.
Yeah.
You know, people die
90-mile
car parades.
Convoys.
Chasing down shit. Biden's bus, like harassing, you know, like people waiting all fucking day long at an airport. You know, it doesn't matter what the temperature, and just to get a glimpse, you know, just to be there, show support, whatever. There's never been anything like it. Boat parades, like the closest thing is possibly, which is not even that close, Obama. Now, you have Joe Biden, who
doesn't evoke emotion in anyone.
Joe Biden can barely form a sentence. You know, legitimately has dementia. You know, like Kamala Harris, who was the worst in the primary. You know,
yeah, exactly.
And like those two are running. Joe. Throughout the entire thing, Joe couldn't fill up a high school auditorium. No,
but they were conveniently able to blame COVID for that.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
I heard on his, he did some Instagram live video that got less than 1,000 views. And it's like, the numbers aren't adding up here.
No.
You know what I'm saying? The numbers aren't adding up.
And then on top of that, they're saying that Joe Biden had the most votes in U.S. history. Yeah,
more than Obama.
By a lot. Way more. Well, most votes in U.S. history. Donald Trump, not only did he got 10 million more votes than he did in 2016 when he won the presidency. He got 10 million more votes and increased in every single category except white males. And so in every demographic, he increased his popularity. 10 million more votes, and
still lost.
Joe Biden lost, and he won like the most counties in U.S. history as well. He won all those swing states and still lost. Like it's so, like they had on a statistics expert like going over numbers and stuff like that, and the numbers were just so astronomically out of whack of it actually being the way it went down. And to me, like, and nobody's even, you know, the media is all obviously like so blatantly against Trump and corruption.
Well, bro, did you see, I think it was Thursday night, President Trump addressed the nation for 15 minutes, like talking about all of the evidence of mail-in fraud.
CNN didn't even air it.
None of the fucking network. Fox didn't even air it. Nowhere. There wasn't a peep about it. I found it on Twitter somewhere because my buddy sent me a link and I logged in. I don't even have a Twitter, right? But I clicked the link and it says this video has been removed. So I took a screenshot of them. I said, bro, this says it's been removed. And then they sent me a different one and I was able to see it. And I was like, that in itself proves there's something going on here.
Crazy.
When the president of the United States wants to address his country and he's being suppressed.
And CNN,
what the fuck or what is going on?
Like that motherfucker Cuomo, like, he says like, we're not even going to air it. We're not going to do you a disservice by airing the president, and they just like kind of speak about what he said and twist everything and paint their own narrative. And it's
that
like,
motherfucker invited me on his show.
No way.
Yeah. I turned him down because I was like, you know what? He knows what side of the fence I'm on, and they're going to fucking mix that up and edit it and just make me look like an absolute moron. Fuck you guys.
Could just beat his ass.
Yeah, that'd be worth it.
I'll go on his show. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. But no, yeah, and his brother.
Dude, I'm telling you, if I see Nancy Pelosi or
any of them,
Sean King, any of them, it's on site, regardless of consequences. Don't care. Cuomo, you can get the list. You
can get added to the list. Fucking dude, I love it, man. Yeah, his brother, the fucking Governor Cuomo, was like, if any police officers out there don't follow my COVID
he was
restrictions,
calling them dictators,
you're acting like little dictators yourself. It's like, but you know what that tells me? They're afraid.
That motherfucker is responsible for more deaths.
Yeah, than anybody.
Than anyone.
Yeah, dude.
Sending fucking people from nursing homes back in there, and then the whole nursing home goes up in flames with COVID. And and then he gets an award.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? What the hell's going on here? And it's like you're seeing true propaganda at action, and it's scary how effective it is.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, man. But the fact that he's having to publicly say, if the police don't side with us, and then like calling them derogatory names, that means somewhere in his fucking pea brain, he's like, fuck, the cops aren't going to support us much longer.
Dude, once kind of shit does get to that point, you're going to see a divide in the police and you're going to see a divide in the military, I believe.
Yep. But the divide in the police and the divide in the military is going to be the capable officers versus the robots. And like your guys that are fucking your fit top shooters, SWAT guys, good athletes, like go-getters, they're going to be on the side of right. Mm-hmm. It's the fucking drones that are just eating out of their superiors' hands that are going to be like, oh, well, this is technically my boss still, and I'm going to have to follow his order. And guess what? You get snuffed out like the rest of them, dude.
100%. Like I've said, I love police, man. I support the police. I have family members that are police officers, and I have a charity that supports police officers, but that does not mean that I blindly support police and that they can't do wrong or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
And if you are a police officer that is enforcing unconstitutional shit, and fuck you from the bottom of my heart.
You're perpetuating tyranny, dude. And people think that that's like
no reason you wouldn't get it.
Yeah, people think that that's like when we say tyranny, like we're being overly dramatic. It's like,
no.
Well, people are losing their businesses. They're losing their livelihoods. They're losing their ability to feed their fucking children. I mean, what are we looking at here? That's exactly what tyranny is. They're taking our money. Name one politician that has missed a paycheck due to COVID. You know what I'm saying? All these giant corporations are getting richer while all the mom and pop stores are getting fucking burned to the ground.
Not only have they not missed a paycheck, they voted and gave themselves raises.
Mm-hmm.
They've taken paid vacations.
Yep.
Well,
my governor got a raise during this fucking pandemic. Well, and he got called out on it too. And he goes, you accepted a pay raise while a lot of your constituents are fucking going broke. That, what is that? How do you think that looks? And he goes, well, my pay raise was already something that was predetermined and there wasn't anything that I could do to change it. Just backpedaling and being a fucking bitch, dude. No, you know what you could have done? If you got a $20,000 raise, you could have taken that $20,000 and you could have donated it to a charity in Seattle to feed fucking starving people. And even if it wouldn't have made like some huge impact, it would show
A gesture.
It would show where your heart's at. Their heart's not with the people, dude.
Dude, they don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck. And dude, I know it's like beating a dead horse because I brought this up on the show a lot, but Newsom going out to dinner, right?
All of them.
All of them. Nancy Pelosi getting her hair done. Yeah, the LA Congresswoman.
Cuomo having his family over for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you had this LA City Councilwoman who led the charge on shutting restaurants down.
Went out to eat.
And it's like
a guy in Texas. It wasn't one of them in Texas said, for to stay home and stuff like that and sacrifice. And he made the video
from Mexico. Yeah, on vacation. And so your credibility is shot. Okay, and so now that we know, it's not like our opinion.
And the media doesn't do their job and expose this shit. They hide it.
But we know 100% now that the people that are pushing this agenda don't believe in it, okay? If they believed they were going to die if they went out to dinner like they're pushing, they wouldn't be out to dinner. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now that we know the people that are pushing it don't believe it personally, what is left?
Dude, not only that, I went to Harry Potter World recently, right? I was in Orlando, Florida, for the Mr. Olympia. Went to Harry Potter World, and there's thousands of people in there. Okay, but they're all wearing a mask. But there's thousands of people, shoulder to shoulder, walking around, this and that.
Yep.
And I'm like, I flew on there on a crowded airplane, but you're telling me that restaurants can't allow a couple to go over there and eat, in their building? Yeah,
bro. If you can't see this as being a systematic attack on middle class America, your fucking eyes aren't open.
Yeah, Amazon is thriving. All of the billionaires in this country, their wealth is increasing exponentially. They're exponentially wealthier than they were pre-COVID. There's a statistic out there that said that if all the billionaires in America, if all of them donated to every single person in America $3,000 each, that after they donated $3,000 to every single person in America, they would still have more wealth than they did pre-COVID.
Dang, dude. How's that for a fucking statistic, huh?
Yeah.
Damn, dude. Well, I mean, fuck,
Jeff
dude.
Bezos made $13.1 billion in a day. Set the record.
Yep. And
Amazon, how many fucking people, 100,000 people work at Amazon in these warehouses.
Uh-huh.
But a restaurant, a family restaurant that's right down the road here can't allow people to eat in their facility.
That is why I'm just shocked that anybody is listening.
I am too.
Why is it that it's my gym and Ian Smith's gym and everyone else is complying? You know what I mean? Like, come on, guys, open your restaurants up. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want to go eat there, then don't. But I'm going to go eat there.
Yeah.
Like,
and there are, I believe that there are patriots across this country that they're doing fine, and they're pissed off about what's going on, but they don't feel like they're in a position to really make an impact or do anything.
Yeah.
But they will support people that do.
100%.
Yep. You're living proof of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly, dude.
And I think people just need to have courage and do it. And that's why I've been so adamant about being vocal and doing what I can, you know what I mean, with the platform that I have, while it's, even though it's being censored. I'm trying as best I can.
Bro, I think my stuff's getting censored too. And the only reason I say that is because whenever I log into Instagram, you know how you go to your notifications and it'll show you new people that are following you? Mm-hmm. It's fucking just 100 new people, right?
But your number never goes up?
No, it goes down.
Yeah,
and so I don't know if that's a thing, or maybe a lot of people follow me for a couple days and are like, oh, this dude just does jujitsu and works out. Fuck him, unfollow. That could be a possibility too. But it's kind of bizarre, right?
Mine probably check out my page and then they hear one of my live shows and they're like, all right, I'm out of here.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Mitch Show.
Yeah, and then they're like, okay, unfollow.
I like the Mitch Show, dude. I can't watch all of them because it'd be a substantial amount of my life. Yeah. But no, they're fun, dude. The other thing I wanted to mention, like that's all encompassing with this, is the fucking stimulus bill, dude. Like
if that's not the last straw for
that's what I'm saying,
so many
dude.
People.
And you know what's cool?
I don't know if you caught the Mitch Show after that stimulus.
No, I'll go back and watch it. You want to know what's cool about the stimulus bill though? Is that like my wife went to one of her friend's house like the night or the day after that whole thing fucking came to light, and her friend's like pretty hardcore liberal, and she was like, what the fuck is this? Why are they sending all this money to Egypt? Why are they teaching girls in Pakistan about fucking transgender people? Like, what the fuck is this? And we're sending all of this money all over the planet, except it's not going to American citizens that are in need. Both sides of the fence are like, what the fuck is going on? And so maybe I do want them to just keep going on with their fuckery, because egregious ass shit like this maybe unite people.
They can only censor so sorry. They can only censor so much, like that's the good thing about the social media and the internet and the age that we're in, is that information goes out fast.
Yep.
And before they can like try and hide and contain it, everyone knew about the Hunter Biden laptop situation, or a shitload of people knew about it. You know what I mean? As much as they tried to censor it, as much as they tried to hide it. And
CNN's trying to hide it, but
still
it's
got
out
out.
there.
It got out, and the same thing with this stimulus bill and all this bullshit that was in it got out and got exposed, and enough people saw about it, shared it, were pissed off about it, to where the cat's out of the bag, and you got to address it now.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And
well, fuck, dude, they gave them 2 hours to read 5,000 pages.
Unbelievable, man.
Come on, dude.
Like, and the fucked up thing is like that hopefully people will understand is that that's been going on.
Yeah. They hide all kinds of shit.
Forever.
Yep.
Forever. Your tax dollars, dude, people understand when taxation is theft. Like yes, we need taxes for things like roads and schools, hospitals, stuff like that. But then it's like, if we need to 100% address how and redo how our taxes work in this country. If every person who pays taxes should be able to decide exactly where their tax dollars go in a democracy, right? Like, wouldn't that make sense? Like, if we all agree like that schools are good, and then we would all give a portion of our taxes, like we have to give up 30%. Well, let's just say for ease of numbers, we have to give up 30% of our money. It's like, do I really believe in schools? Well, then I'll give all 30% of it to schools. And based on our society as a whole and what everybody decides is most important, like everyone thinks roads are important, everyone thinks garbage is important, everyone thinks school's important, like then that gets funded. But if nobody thinks fucking gender studies in Pakistan is important, then it ain't getting no fucking money.
That's right, dude.
And if why are we giving $100 million to a fucking museum that's closed? Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Hey, throw some money towards MASF. You know what I mean? Like, we're open, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
And $100 million, like, what in the fuck? Are you serious? Like, these are astronomical amounts of money that people don't understand. And like I tell people this all the time, there is no shortage of tax dollars. How many times can a dollar be taxed? When I give you a single dollar, I paid taxes on it when I earned it, then you pay taxes on it, or if I'm buying something, I pay taxes on the sales tax, and then you pay taxes on the income tax, and then when you spend that dollar somewhere, it just goes in a cycle.
Yeah, it's fucking it's criminal.
Now that $1 can be taxed far beyond the value of a dollar. Now you think about that on a huge scale, like trillions of times every day.
Yeah.
There is no shortage of tax dollars.
And bro, they're nickel and diming you at every level.
Oh yeah.
Like, dude, I sold a 4Runner recently, and I sold it for undervalue because I was selling it to a family friend who's 16 years old, right? And when he went to license it, they're like, actually, this is worth more than you bought it.
You can't sell it for $1.
Yeah. And dude, I sold it for $2,000. Okay. And they said the Blue Book value is $6,000.
So you have to pay taxes on that.
And it's like, what, motherfucker?
Yeah.
Like, no, that's my car that I bought and paid for in full. And when I bought it, I paid sales tax for the fucking sticker price off the lot.
Yep.
And I sold it to a family friend for this much. And you're telling him he has to give the government more money than that.
Crazy.
What the fuck is going on?
Crazy, dude.
You know? And so I had to write a letter saying what was damaged on the vehicle
and why it wasn't worth
why
it.
I sold it for under Blue Book value. And it's like, I did it because I didn't want him to get stuck paying more money.
But let me ask you this. So out of all that money you've paid in taxes this year, we'll say, was it over $600?
Yeah, bro, that $600.
Do you even get a stimulus check? I don't.
I got one $1,200 one when it first kicked off. I don't know. Some people did, some people didn't, and I don't know what the deciding factor was.
I think it has to do with your last year's tax bracket or last year's tax bill.
Got it.
Or whatever, and that's how they decide, which fucked over a lot of people because a lot of people had jobs last year and don't this year.
Yeah, exactly.
So then it's like, well, you made X amount of money last year, so you don't get the stimulus package. And it's like, well, now I don't have a job.
Yeah, my restaurant is out of business now.
Yeah, but I don't get a stimulus check because last year I made money pre-COVID.
Well, and let's be honest, nobody wants a stimulus check. People just want to go back to fucking work, dude. You're $600. I mean, it's almost like a slap in the face. What does $600 do for a fucking family? That pays for 1/4 of my mortgage for the month.
MSNBC put out a fucking thing saying like, $600 might not seem like a lot, but you can make it go a long way if you spend it wisely. And they were talking about like thinking about saving some of it for retirement. I swear to God, dude,
yes,
unbelievable. Like $600? Are you fucking kidding me? And
bro, $600 if you got teenage kids will fill your fridge for one fucking week.
I've spent $600 on a joke.
Yeah, dude.
Without a doubt. But like the other thing, man, like I said, if any of this fucking shit was actually for safety and actually, if this virus was actually something that was worth addressing in the slightest bit, like I'd be on board.
Of course, dude. And that's what I keep telling people. We're not unreasonable people. Like people say, oh, if you don't support masks, it's because you don't care about people. Yeah. Actually, I'm a fucking dude, I love people. I love my community. Like my community that I've built up here, like, dude, I'm a people person. I like being around people, like talking. Don't fucking tell me I don't care about people. Mm-hmm. That's just their fucking narrative to try and shut guys like us down, And
I do so much for so many people every single day of my life that I don't post about. I don't need credit for whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm doing it because I genuinely want to do that. Like my end goal is to be a philanthropist. That's why I started a charity. It's like I want to help people. Like that's, you know what I mean? But anyway, like the other thing is people don't understand how many like this solution is causing an insane amount more damage than the problem itself.
100%, dude.
So many people have lost their businesses, their livelihoods. They're devastated. The mental problems that are caused with this, like suicide, is through the roof.
Yep.
Like 30 million people are unemployed. Kids are definitely getting impacted by this negatively, without a doubt. And
bro, I see it in my own house, dude. It's clear as day.
Yeah.
You can't take a kid who's an athlete, who is active, who's an intellectual, who is social, and then just take all that away. Because you do that, it fucking has, like me and my wife are concerned that the impact on our children, it might be lifelong.
You know,
like it's kind of scares us.
It's crazy. Like I said in the beginning of the show, like I was very fortunate growing up. Like I had a great childhood, great parents, you know, and I realize now as an adult how much that played a role in who I am today as an adult and the person I am. You know, and I see so many people who are adults now and hear, you know, they had a fucked up childhood, and that trauma or that all that shit has stayed with them their entire life.
That's right.
And to me, it's like crazy. I'm like, man, why don't you just let that shit go, or, you know, like move on or whatever. But it's not, they don't have the tools, you know, in their brain to like do that.
There's
stuff.
there's a way to get past trauma. And if you don't open up and show some vulnerabilities and address that shit will fucking hide inside of you and it will haunt you forever. And some people that are very close to me went through some stuff that you're mentioning, like childhood trauma. And if you don't figure out a path to get well, it's very difficult to get past certain things.
Yeah. And you know? I mean, like this will carry on their entire lives. Like when they're 50, you know, and still dwelling and dealing with shit from their childhood. And, you know, to me, it's kind of crazy, and, you know, but I'm fortunate enough to where I didn't have any of that shit happen, but I see how real that is. And there are so many kids that are dealing, you know, suffering from crazy bullshit like that's going on because of this. This whole thing is just complete fucking nonsense. And that's why I'm so adamant about being combative and being vocal in fighting this.
Well, dude, I mean, I don't know how far down this conspiracy theory rabbit holes people want to go with this, but they've been going after Trump since the day he was inaugurated, right? He had the best economy that we've ever had. He is doing a lot of good, like Middle Eastern peace deals.
Yep. Haven't had any new wars kick off.
Bringing home the troops.
He deported less Hispanics than Obama by a lot.
Fucking North Korea, like on and on and on. And it was a fucking witch hunt for him this entire fucking term. And now here we are. And they're like, you know what? How do we just turn this shit upside down? And this is exactly what it did, you know? Like our fucking society has never turned 180 so fast. Not just financially, but like just the vibe in the country. Like everybody's divided again. Everybody hates cops again. Dude, everybody's racist again. And like
when I came here, like I told you when you when you picked me up from the airport, like I was like, man, I feel like I'm behind enemy lines, you know, coming to Washington. Coming to Washington State, you know, it's obviously like pretty liberal for the most part, you know, in Seattle, and you got the fucking CHOP, you know, the Chaz was here or whatever. I was ready to come here and just start fighting, man, months ago.
I know, man. I had...
I can't believe you live here.
I had nightly conversations with my wife. I was like, I need to take my AR-10 and go downtown tonight. This is fucking bullshit. No, don't. Like,
it's a good thing that I wasn't here, because I would have been like right in your ear. Like,
let's go,
dude.
No, I mean...
And it's sad. The thing that's sad to me is I have not found a whole lot of people that are this like-minded,
but
and that are down to like actually go boots on the ground type shit.
It would have. I mean, it circle back.
I
what
went
we were
to that
talking
statue
about.
by myself.
Yeah. To circle around what we were talking about earlier, though, the tactical patience thing. Because if you and I went to CHOP with our AR-10s to take back the East Precinct, you know, like they took over a police precinct, they would have locked us up. They would have sent the SWAT team after us.
Yeah.
You know, isn't that a fucking crazy concept? It's like, no, I'm actually on your fucking team, nitwit, you know, but fuck, dude. We'll fucking see what happens.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, man, driving your truck around, that's making me, I've been looking at buying a new truck, and when I get back, I think I'm going to get a big diesel Duramax diesel.
Thing's badass, huh?
Dude, I think it's probably because of the times we're in, and like, again, feeling like I'm behind enemy lines, and like just shit could just pop off at any moment.
Yeah.
And that truck feels like you're in a tank, and like especially that like bumper you have on it and everything. Like I fantasize about like just smashing through cars and like smashing through zombie apocalypse type shit.
I don't know if I've told this story on my Instagram before, but I have a piece of property in Everett, and it's like 30 minutes from here, and a bunch of meth heads moved into it, and they just took it over by force, right? And there was like 10 of them on the property. They had their cars, they had their trailers and shit. And I'm like,
was it like a cabin?
No, it was just a mobile home, right? Okay. And so it was a family-owned piece of property that my mom was renting out that mobile home to some lady. Well, she moved out, and in the Seattle area, if there's a fucking vacant structure, they move in like rats, dude.
It's crazy when you picked me up from the airport. We were driving here, you know, and it's like you're like, man, look at all these like on the side of the highway. There's just tents.
Yeah, tents everywhere, dude.
Litter, fucking crazy.
Welcome to Seattle, dude. So those people, if they see anything that's unoccupied, they move in, right? And so my mom calls the sheriff's office, and she goes, hey, a bunch of people moved into one of my properties. And they're like, well, it's now a civil matter. It has to go through the courts, and they have to go through eviction. And so she tells me that, and I was like, okay, got it. You tried the reasonable method, and now we'll go my fucking method. And I was still a cop at the time. This was like 8 months ago, you know, right before I got fired. And so I went to the sheriff's office. I said, hey, here's the deal. We contacted you guys to evict these people. This is criminal trespass. This is not a civil fucking eviction, okay? These are criminals that moved into our property. And I'm going to evict them myself right now. And I got my fucking body armor on, and I got my fucking gun belt. And like, oh, we'll go with you, man. Oh, you're a cop? Yeah, we'll go with you. Like, oh, I'm one of the guys. You know what I mean? Like, I'm on the ins. Oh, you're a cop? Okay, yeah, we'll go with you. So we went up there and threw them all out and fucking arrested a couple of them. But dude, if I wasn't a cop, I wouldn't have had that fucking like that inside connection, you know?
Right.
But circling back around to the truck, so there was like 4 cars on the property, right?
Did you smash it, right?
Smashed them, dude. I fucking just rammed them with that big bumper and just pushed them off the property. Because here's the deal. If you have them towed off of your property, I have to pay for it.
Right.
But if I push them out into the middle of the street, now it's a county problem.
Right.
And the county covers it, right? And so, dude, and the guy's like, that's my fucking car. What are you doing? I'm like, that's what you get for fucking parking here, you drug addict fuck, dude. And I pushed him down. And he's like, that's assault. Like, dude, these people, they want to just fucking and bro, they destroyed the trailer to the point where I had to demo it. It was full of human feces and needles and stuff. And they just fucking show up and garbage everywhere. It was just disgusting, dude. But I'm the bad guy for pushing his shit off of my fucking property. And then I kicked in all the windows and shit, dude. He's like, I'm going to call the police. Because the police had already left. I'd went back the next day, right? And some of them were still there. So this was just me and the drug addicts now. And I don't open carry, but I open carried that day because I wanted them to understand, hey, if you fucking try anything, I'm going to fucking kill you. I told them to. You see this? If you try anything, I'm going to fucking shoot you. And, but yeah, dude, I took a logging chain and wrapped it around the axle of another car and just drug it down the street. So yeah, fucking Duramax diesel, thing's badass, dude.
Dude, it is badass. And it made me, you know, like I said, I'm thinking about like a zombie apocalypse type shit, or like just, you know, and if and when shit gets chaotic, there's going to be just, what is it? Congestion.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that thing, you just fucking barrel through.
Just fucking go. That's
just
right.
barrel through, you know?
No, I actually bought a small trailer with like a 300-gallon tank in it. So now with 1 tank of fuel, I can get to Montana if I needed to, you know?
Yeah, and that shit you really should think about right now.
Yeah, because I don't want to be around here if shit goes sideways.
I bought generators, you know, like some nice generators that are almost like they're in like the shape of gas cans, you know, and they that's how they're filled, and then you run them from there. I got a couple of those. I'm getting some PVS 15s, Nat Peel, you know.
Yep.
Because that.
Do you follow Mike Glover shit? So he's a former SF guy, and he doesn't get like politically involved. He did the podcast a couple months ago, but that's his thing, dude. He's like a prepper, but he's smart about it. He's not like crazy doomsday. He's just like, hey,
you don't need a crazy amount of things.
Yeah, he's just like, you need mobility.
And I don't want a fucking bomb shelter. I'm not I'm not digging in somewhere.
Yeah, you want mobility.
I'm being mobile.
Yep.
And and whatever supplies I need, trust and believe I'll take them.
Yeah. But bro, I mean, I talk about it on the show a lot. Shoot, move, and communicate. Mm-hmm. You need to have some weapons and some tactics. You need to have your fitness and a good vehicle for move. And you need to have some smashing greens and some kind of comms, you know?
Yeah.
So, well, fuck, dude, we're already pushing 2 hours. Before we wrap this up, I want you to talk about your nonprofit and then talk about your company as well.
So, all right, well, I'll start with, I guess I'll start with my company because that funded the nonprofit. So so I started, my company is MASF Supplements, or MASF Industries officially, because we have apparel, supplements, and CBD. But our main thing is supplements. But I started selling T-shirts. I actually started selling T-shirts out of my spare bedroom 3 years ago.
So that's what the company started with, was apparel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had
What made you make that jump?
I had no intentions of starting a business or starting a company or nothing like that. I was fighting, and I was just fighting for fun. I was still active duty in the SEAL teams, and I started winning. When I started fighting, I was competing in jiu-jitsu, and I was competing in MMA a lot, and I was doing really well. And the jiu-jitsu tournaments is what really led me to kind of start everything, because the jiu-jitsu tournaments were expensive, and at the time I was living paycheck to paycheck, in the military.
Like E5 or something?
I was in E6.
Okay.
But I, I've always been pretty generous with my money and everything. And I also just kind of, if I wanted something, I got it, and I put it on the credit card, because I didn't plan on getting out of the military. So, when you're in the military or whatever, I'm like, hey, I'll get a re-enlistment bonus, and I'll just pay it off then. Yeah. So I was like, oh, might as well get what I want now, and then when it's time to re-enlist, I'll just pay it all off at once, But then I was like, well, wait a minute. I think I'm going to get out of the military. And it's like, oh, fuck, but I got 20 grand in credit card debt. And it's like, shit, But anyway, I was living paycheck to paycheck, and I was competing in jiu-jitsu and MMA. And I wanted a way to get to do these tournaments for free. And my buddy had suggested getting like sponsors. And I was like, well, I don't have social media or anything like that. And I'm like, why the fuck would people sponsor me? I just didn't get it. And so I was like, well, I could get an Instagram, and it was actually my friend's idea, Pat. He's a team guy. He owns Green Devil Garage, and he actually had made that suggestion to me, and he was like, you should start an Instagram. And I'm like, oh, man, Instagram's stupid as fuck. I don't want to do that. And he's like, I know, dude, but it's good for business. And I was like, okay. So I started one, and I was like, well, will you sponsor me in a jiu-jitsu tournament? And he was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, fuck yeah, man. So I got an Instagram, had like 10 followers, like my mom and him and whatever. And I went to like jiu-jitsu tournaments, and I would wear his T-shirt on the podium or whatever. And then I, realized that I could get other businesses, but I basically went to like SEAL-owned businesses and said, hey, like I'm competing in this and that. You want to sponsor me? Yeah. And so I got a couple businesses right off the bat that wanted to support me or whatever. And I was like, oh, cool. So then for my MMA fights, I was the Smashing Frog. And so I made walkout shirts, and I put all the sponsors on the back of my shirts. And then I was like, well, hey, now I have, like, if you want to sponsor me for a little bit of money or whatever, then I'll put your logo on the back of these shirts, and I'm going to sell 100 shirts, so your logo's out there on 100 people, whatever. So it was like kind of a, that's the return on investment. And whatever. People just wanted to support me. You know? And I was grateful for that. But so I made those shirts, sold the shirts and everything. And I thought it was awesome that like when I saw people wearing my shirts, like outside of my fights, you know, I was like, dude, that's so cool. But it had like a big green fucking frog on it, you know, and I'm like, no one's going to wear that like every day. And, so
we're going to have to like go back to the drawing board.
Yeah. So like, and I've always been like a big t-shirt snob, like my whole life. I love like nice t-shirts and like that have like something on them, something cool or a statement or something. It's like, you know, I've always been that way. And at the time I was working out, I was building my Instagram up, you know, and I was saying mindset is everything, you know, and that's because like, I know that I'm not anything special and I'm just a regular fucking dude that has just given effort and, you know, done things by giving effort and just having the, you know, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep trying, whatever mindset. And so, you know, I just started saying that and then I put it on a t-shirt and, cause I was like, well, you know, it's kind of like, generic in the sense like it covers a lot of things and fitness or whatever you're going through. Maybe
it's not just
more
MMA
people,
apparel.
right? It's not a fucking frog, you know, on it. Like, so I figured more people could wear that every day. And then I had a couple ideas for like cool t-shirt designs. Like I am a very not a good artist, but I have like artistic vision of things that I want. I can't really necessarily bring them to life myself sometimes, but I know what I want.
Articulate it to someone else and they kind of bring it to life.
So I had a couple like ideas that I wanted to do and I put them on shirts and I made a handful of shirts and just kind of rolled the dice. Like maybe people will buy them, maybe they won't. I don't know. And they sold out right away. And I was like, well, fuck, that was cool. So I started with 30. I'm like, I'll try 60. You know, and then I put out 60, they all sold. And I was like, well, shit.
This is a thing now.
This is pretty cool. You know, and it's like when you're in the military and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you remember going places and getting per diem? And you're just like, I'm fucking balling.
Yeah, I'm fucking rich, dude. I always joke.
Not just a paycheck. I'm getting an extra $60 today. Tax free.
Cash money.
You know, like you're just on a different level of baller at that point. So like selling the extra t-shirts and stuff like that, I was like, this is a great little extra money, you know? And like I said, I was paycheck to paycheck, so I was all about it. So I got into making more of the t-shirts and things like that, and I just made really nice t-shirts. You know, they were the next level tri-blends and simple, you know, prints on them or whatever, but people were digging them and everything, and I gave away tons of shirts because I was like, well, if I sell a shirt and I make a profit on it, that means that I can afford to give away, you know, 3 shirts or whatever. So, and I realized that like I wasn't like a brand or anything, and a lot of people aren't going to buy, a lot of people buy like a Nike shirt because they like Nike, the brand, you know, but I'm not like a well-known brand. So I had to like, it's hard to get people to buy something and kind of advertise your brand, if you know what I mean. So I gave away a bunch and just asked people to post them like on social media and just kind of help build my following and kind of get my brand out there. And just slowly.
Did you have anybody helping you out through this, or you could just kind of look at what was taking place and how things were developing? And
as far as like a business mentor, or no?
No, just winging it, huh?
Yeah, just totally winging it. And
well, the reason I ask is like starting a business and becoming successful is a lot harder than I thought it would be.
The hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, you know, and I'm still like my gym and the podcast and the things that do produce revenue for me. Like I didn't put a lot of effort into my gym outside of training hard because I was a police officer, right?
But you're good at delegating.
Yeah, but now I'm realizing like if I want to make this place something that can sustain my life and be like a major contributor to my financial wealth, there's a lot of little nuances and a lot of little things you have to pay attention to. And that's why when you said I realize if I If I sell one shirt, it gives me a big enough profit margin to give away 3 more. So now you have 4 shirts out on the market,
advertising,
getting eyes on you. And that's a pretty, that's a very interesting conclusion to draw.
Well, you have to
not coming from a business mindset, you know?
Well, like the way I looked at it was like planting seeds, you know, like I'm not going to reap the benefits of this right now, but if 4 people are out there wearing my shirts and they really like my brand or like what I'm about, like they're inevitably, hopefully going to tell 5 more people each.
Yeah.
And then, you know, eventually I'll get
pay
sales from those people,
Yep.
you know, and then I can continue to do that. And that's how I really like exponentially grew the brand quickly. And it went from t-shirts to hoodies to hats and then shorts and, you know, and like at the time, like I'd been doing the Mitch show for a long time, but I wasn't calling it the Mitch show. I was just going live with people and stuff. And it's funny, you know, how shadow banned for sure. At the time I had like 30,000 followers, and when I would go live, I would get 400 people on there sometimes. And now I have 130,000 followers, and when I go live, I get, you know, 100.
Oh shit, dude.
But
yeah,
not just that, but a few months ago, like on my stories, you know, you can see how many people look at your stories and stuff. Like 15,000 always in a day, and now it's 1,800.
That's nuts, dude. The algorithms figured you out, dude.
Oh yeah,
they're fucking hunting you down.
But anyway, so yeah, and at the time it was just t-shirts, hats, all this stuff, and then, you know, people, this one follower is just bugging me about lanyards. Make a lanyard, make a mine says everything lanyard. And I'm like, I don't fucking use lanyards. I'm like, who the hell uses lanyards?
Well, my truck keys you're using has a lanyard on it.
Yeah, it does. And I'll send you mine says everything.
There we go. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, fucking lanyards. And at the time, you know, like when you're doing stuff like that, you have to do everything in bulk. You can't just order 5 mine says everything lanyards.
Yeah.
You know, you have to order 1,000 or whatever for it to even make sense, you know, to sell. And I'm like, God damn it, I'm going to order 1,000 of these, sell fucking 1 to this guy, and then just sit on the rest. Yep. And I'm like, motherfucker. So I'm like, he better buy 10 of them, you know? And so I made the lanyards, and they sold all the time. And I just was like, I had no idea people liked lanyards. Okay. And then, you know, and then I started making all kinds of accessories, you know, and people, when you have a large audience, people will buy it.
Yeah.
You know? Like someone will. And, so then just kind of grew it from there. And then, you know, with the whole Smashing Greens, I'd watched a documentary called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
Okay, yeah, that was a good documentary.
Yeah, it was. And I watched it, and I thought that was awesome, man. That guy just lost like all that weight, like became like a totally different person in 2 months.
He got healthy by giving his body nutrients.
Yeah.
Shocking, right?
But
our culture's so far removed from that.
He went 60 days with no food, just drank vegetable juice, like greens and vegetable juice. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. And he lost like 100 pounds. His skin condition like cleared up, got all healthy and stuff. And, you know, and I'm like the type that I seek adversity, you know, and challenges. And I was like, man, that's cool. I want to do that. So I got a juicer, and fucking, it was like $30 a day in vegetables, like, you know, to make that shit. And like, to make a fucking juice this size, you need like this
3 bags of vegetables.
3 bags of vegetables. And, you know, I'm cleaning out this fucking juicer 4 times a day. My house smells like I'm carving pumpkins all day. And I'm just like, God damn, dude, this is awful, you know? And like,
how long were you doing it for?
Of course, the cucumber like fills this whole thing up. Yeah. But the fucking shit you actually want, like kale or spinach, it's
there's
like
nothing.
Just this much, and it's like fucking bullshit. So anyway, I was
you want to know I'm sure you figured this out, but a pro tip is you do the spinach and the kale first, and then the cucumber flushes all that shit out. You know?
Well, I was just like, man, fuck this.
Like, I need a new option for smashing my greens.
Yeah. So then I found this juice bar that was right next door to my jiu-jitsu gym, and I was like, oh sweet, they got all the stuff here. You know, I'll just pay $8 and get a juice every day. But you know, then of course at the juice bar they do the same thing. They give you a cucumber that's 90% of your drink, and then a little splash of this and that. And I always wanted wheatgrass because wheatgrass was like the Mac Daddy of superfoods.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want a wheatgrass shot, and they kept running out of wheatgrass, and I was getting fucking pissed because I'm like, I come here every fucking day and I want wheatgrass. Like, you should know that, like, what's wrong with you guys?
You're probably scaring them.
So then
there's this monster demanding you give me wheatgrass.
Give me wheatgrass. And they're like, our supplier doesn't have it. I'm like, how fucking hard is it to grow wheatgrass? So I Googled how hard is it, grow wheatgrass, how to grow wheatgrass. Turns out super easy. Like, I went to Whole Foods, got wheatgrass seeds, and got a little tray, like a little paint tray, thing, put some soil in it, put the wheatgrass down, wet damp paper towel over the soil. 3 days later, I had wheatgrass growing. And you can cut that wheatgrass and grind it like 3 times, 3 growths before it like loses its nutritious value. So I brought them the wheatgrass, and I was like, here, this is my wheatgrass.
Don't sell it to other people.
And they're like, holy fuck, will you like provide us with wheatgrass? I was like, yeah, sure. So I made like 10 trays and brought them to it, and they were making a lot of money on it because they were selling it for like fucking.
Bro, you're like a fucking Renaissance man,
I'm an entrepreneur, man, at heart. And but then we made a deal to where like I would provide them wheatgrass and I would get my juices for free. So that was cool. Cool with me. But so that was cool. So that was like a solved problem for a while, and then. But then they ended up moving locations or whatever out of town. So then I was like back to square one. And I was like, fuck. And I went to Vitamin Shop and I saw organic wheatgrass powder. And you just add water. And I was like, oh, sweet. That's fucking money.
It's convenient.
Yeah. And then I just looked at like different ingredients that I wanted, like the superfoods and the benefits from them. It's like, oh, maca is good for balancing hormones in men and women. It's also been called nature's Viagra. I'm like, okay, throw 2 scoops of that in there. Like fucking, beets, spirulina, chlorella, whatever I wanted in there. And I got all these organic powders, mixed them all up and just added water. It tasted like shit. I was sponsored by Strikeforce at the time because at the time it was a SEAL-owned company, and it's not anymore. But they were sponsoring me, so I threw that in there. It tasted a lot better, and I just started fasting with that, and I was doing that to cut weight for my fights.
Okay.
So it was a really easy way to drop weight, still have tons of energy, and get all those benefits of the superfoods and stuff. So it was like awesome. And at the time, I didn't have anything to post on Instagram, and I was trying to be consistent, build my shit up. So I was like, I'll just throw here my morning routine. Here's what I do. And everyone's like, whoa, wait, what is that? Like asking me all these questions. And I'm like, yeah, this is what I do. I cut weight this way for my fights. And then people started fasting. And I was like, you can get all these products. Like, I'm not associated with any of these companies. You can go get them on Amazon or Vitamin Shop or whatever and just mix them together. And I was getting like bombarded with questions nonstop. And like my brother ended up fasting with it, lost 110 pounds. And
oh, fuck, dude.
Yeah, like one of my employees who works for me now, at the time he had done it and lost 130 pounds. And like, and everyone's like, for a year and a half, I had no intentions of making it a supplement or anything like that, And I was really annoyed because I was getting so many fucking questions about it all the time. And I was like,
and you're not monetizing it.
No.
Yeah.
And so I like wrote out like as detailed as I could. Like, I'm like, if I was the stupidest fucking person ever, would I have a question? Like, and I'm, it's just trying that hard to not get questions about it. And then I put it out there. And of course, you still get questions. But it got to the point where like, it was trending on Amazon. If you bought one, you bought, the others showed up. And then like if you went to like the Vitamin Shop in Virginia, it was like, hey, do you have a wheatgrass, spirulina? They're like, you're doing Mitch's fast? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, we got everything. So
that's cool, man.
Yeah. And then eventually and people were calling it the Smashing Greens. Like I didn't call it that. And then I just like literally got to the point where I was just like, all right, fuck this. I'm just going to make my own. I don't know shit about supplements or whatever. But I'm getting really sick of this, like answering all these questions. And I appreciate that people are taking or getting healthy or
Yeah,
losing weight.
Yeah,
so
it's
like,
definitely cool.
It's cool, and
But you can streamline it.
People send you messages and they're like, "Hey man, I've been following you for a long time. You motivated me. I've lost like this amount, and so can you help me with this?" And I'm like, yeah, so I understood that it was a good thing. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to make my own. And I didn't know shit about like the supplement world or nothing like that. But I was like, go to a formulation company. I'm like, I want this, all in one scoop, make it happen. They're like, okay, and that's like, in the supplement world, it's the profit is the most important thing, what I mean? And it's like, but I, again, didn't have any plans on this, didn't know. I was just like, hey, I just want all of this shit into one, so it's convenient. And I don't want any bullshit in it or whatever. I want it to be organic, nice, and
quality,
whatever it is, just do it. And they're like, okay. And Smashing Greens was born. And then from there, then I issued the challenge, the fasting challenge, the 10-day thing.
Yeah.
And it's caught like wildfire, man. And just,
I've seen a lot of the people doing your challenge on Instagram.
Yeah.
So what is a 10-day fast?
Yeah. Or typical.
You give them money if they succeed or whatever.
So that was the first one that I did, was kind of to, again, launch like a proof of concept, or like I believed in my product, and I've done this challenge myself so many times that I know, like, if you do it, then it's going to be successful. And I just like had the idea, it just hit me like out of nowhere. I was actually like, I was taking a nap I was at the airport, and I like woke up and I just like had this like brilliant idea, to me it was like, this is it, and I just typed it in one fucking shot and sent it. Like, this is it, go. Posted it to Instagram, everything. Like,
so describe that then, what the 10-day challenge is.
So it's 10 days, no food or nothing whatsoever, no alcohol, nothing. Just the only things you're authorized to have on it. And it's more of like a mental challenge. It's a discipline, mental toughness challenge. But weight loss is inevitably, a side effect.
Yeah, of course.
And so you're allowed to have just as many Smashing Greens as you want a day, which you're only going to want maximum 3.
Yeah.
Because they are very filling. And as much water as you want. You can. You have to work out a minimum of 30 minutes a day, and that's to earn your protein shake. You can have a protein shake after you work out.
Got it.
And you can have black coffee. That's it. And teas, like unsweetened teas, are fine. Carbonated water is fine, but that's it.
Okay.
And
which actually makes it pretty simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's there. Yeah, it's very simple in that.
I always
sense.
tell people, like, the concept may be simple, but implementation will be difficult.
Yeah.
And
it's an interesting challenge because it opens your eyes to how much our world revolves around food. Mm-hmm. Everywhere you go is food. You've never seen so many restaurants until you're fasting, and you never realize how much advertising and how much your social life is around food or alcohol or whatever. And like when you wake up, first thing you think is like breakfast, and then you go to work and it's like, when's lunch? Go to lunch, and then after lunch it's like, all right, go home and have dinner. You have little snacks in between, and then like if you go out with your friends or whatever, go to a social gathering, you have some drinks and little appetizers, whatever. It's just constant. It's never.
Yeah, so it's no surprise that everybody's 50 pounds overweight.
Right. And human beings weren't meant to just effortlessly gorge on food all day.
Fuck no, man.
But we're smart enough to where we've manipulated our food chain, and our food's accessible in that sense, and like we're rich enough as a country to have that luxury. So and that's a part of survival is food. And so like people, and it releases hormones, endorphins. People eat for eat your feelings. You eat for comfort.
A lot of people are addicted to food.
Yeah,
I might be one of them. You know what I mean?
Certainly am.
But no, I mean, since the beginning of mankind, it's been feast or famine.
Yeah,
we're hardwired. If food's around, we should want to eat it.
Hunt and gather.
But there's just a lot of feasting now, not a lot of famine.
Right.
So this is basically self-induced famine.
So this is a way, but you're also not starving.
Yeah,
in
you're
the
getting
sense that
nutrients.
you're not like, oh my God, I'm so starving. When am I going to eat something? You don't get that, because like I tell people, it's like food. What food is a delivery of nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
That's what its job is, or whatever. It's like when you get thirsty, you drink water, and then you're no longer thirsty, because that's quenched. It's like when you eat food, your body gets nutrients. It's no longer hungry. So in the greens, you're getting so much fucking nutrients, way more than you probably would in your typical diet.
Yeah.
That you don't get hungry. It's not a traditional fast in that sense.
Okay.
Like you're not fasting of nutrients. You're getting nutrients. You're just not eating food.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
dude, so I've done a few of these, but I've only done 3 days. That's max.
With what?
Fasting.
With what, though?
With either water, or I've done some juice fast too.
Yeah.
And it was after I watched Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. I was like, I want to try this. You know?
Try the smashing greens. It's, I mean,
yeah,
it's on a different level, man. But like, so I've done it so many times. I knew that it was going to work. And so I had this idea to market it and get it out there. And I was like, if you do this challenge the way I prescribe it, and it comes with a social media aspect, was, to show everyone that you're doing it and that it's working, you had to post a day one picture in your weigh-in. You had to do a video weigh-in every day on your story to show that you're consistently losing weight every day, and not just crashing at the last day and showing like, oh, I lost 15 pounds. And like, no, like this is steadily, you're not eating food.
Yeah.
And so it was a day 1 picture, a day 5 picture, and a final day 11 picture. But like I said, daily weigh-ins on your story, just showing that you're consistently losing weight. But the pictures would show, if you were, that you can see the difference physically. And so I said, if you do that, then I will give you your money back for the product. If you do it successfully, and you have to lose a minimum of 15 pounds, then I'll give you your money back for the greens. I'll give you $100 cash and $100 gift card to my website.
Okay.
So it's like, all you have to lose is weight.
Yeah.
So it's like,
that's pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah. And again, at the time I didn't have money in the bank at all, but I put it out there like, this is what's up for grabs. Go ahead and get it. And my mom's freaking out. It's like, cause at the time I think I had like 60,000 followers or something. She's like, what are you doing?
What if everybody does it?
Yeah. And this, I'm like, I hope everyone does it, because that would show that 60,000 or whoever does it, that would show that my product works, and they just lost 15 pounds in 10 days using my product. Yeah. And they have to write a review about it, their experience as well, which I'd done it again so many times. I knew that they were what was going to
just have good outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. A shitload of people did it, and shitload of people had great success. They felt amazing and just wrote, a ton of organic reviews. And then it just got exposed to so many people, and it's just organic growth.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So
how long ago was that?
That was 2 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, we've grown quite a bit since then. And, but, that launched us, and that made me, I was like, okay, so now I guess this is going to be what I do for a living, or like a part of what I do. And so now I need to learn about the supplement industry, and, and I use supplements, and I was like, well, I might as well make all the supplements I use, and then I took the SEAL approach with running my company. Not that like I never intended on running a company. I don't know the first thing about it, but I feel like Captain Obvious. I'm just like, I'm just going to do what the right, or I'm just going to do things to the best of my ability. I'm not going to cut corners. And like, if there's something that needs done, I'm going to do it and get it done right. And, not skimp on shit. Like I appreciate quality. I'm the type of person that like, you get what you pay for, you know, and like, especially with things that I'm putting in my body and that are health derivative, or driven, like I want it to be quality. And so I just took that approach with my company, and, it's like, it doesn't
hurt the fact that you're a fucking specimen too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Like the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, if I was a fat fucking
what I'm saying.
turd and I'm like selling
Yeah.
something that helps you get healthy, this stuff is great. You should try it.
But people see you at fucking, you know, that picture where you just won the fight and you're like, ah, you know, at 4% body fat, all yoked, you know, it's
But you
like,
gotta lead by example.
yeah,
you know?
that motherfucker knows what he's talking
It's
about.
like when
you know?
when your personal trainer needs a personal trainer, it's like something's wrong.
Yeah, that's right, dude.
But so the company is, you know, has done well with that, and yeah, I don't know.
That's cool, man. All right, so we're back after potty break number 2.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, we'll go as long as we want, man. This is fun. But yeah, before we get out of here, I wanted to give you the opportunity to tell everybody about your nonprofit, what Adopt a Cop is, and kind of why you developed it, and then how people become affiliated with it and become a part of it.
Okay. Yeah. So, Adopt a Cop BJJ is the name of my nonprofit, and we, you know, I had the idea for it just because of, I'm sure, just like you've seen all these incidents that have unfolded across our country, and you know, you've thought to yourself, I'm positive, you've thought to yourself, like when you see this happen, like if that cop knew a little bit of jiu-jitsu, this could have been avoided.
Yeah, 100%.
And you know, you being a former police officer and obviously, you know, black belt in jiu-jitsu, you know, I'm sure you've been preaching that for years to cops.
Yeah. And when I preach it, I always like to explain to people that this isn't just about officer safety. This is about community safety.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that's involved in the altercation has a higher likelihood of leaving that altercation uninjured if the officer is very proficient at grappling. I mean, at the end of the day, a cop's job when he arrests someone is to put him into handcuffs and take him into custody.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know how to grab a hold of people and manipulate them, I don't see how you can consider that a job that you're willing to do. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Or that you're capable of doing.
Yeah, that you're capable of doing. And so, yeah, when I saw that you're developing a program to get cops on the mat, I was like, yeah, dude, this is cool because it needed to fucking happen, you know?
Yeah. So you know, in the SEAL teams, I was a combatives instructor and, you know, wrote the curriculum for that and taught prisoner handling and everything. And so I had a decent background with prisoner handling and dealing with, you know, that kind of situation. And obviously being a pro fighter and heavily involved in jiu-jitsu, you know, that always just made that part of the job easier. You know, it's like you don't have to know jiu-jitsu to take someone into custody, but it certainly helps.
For sure. Yep.
You know, and the more times, you know, human beings are unpredictable, and the more times you're in that situation where you've put hands on people and like any kind of grappling situation, you know, a lot of the same things happen, or you've felt this before or whatever. You can just know how to flow and deal with, and the more the more capable grappler is going to control that situation. And, you know, and so I've always preached about police officers needing to know jiu-jitsu for that reason as well. And when all of this stuff was happening, you know, like the George Floyd incident, you know, if that guy knew jiu-jitsu, he would never have done that.
Yeah.
And so I was preaching that, you know, just kind of bitching, honestly, like about how police departments need to have their own dedicated, you know, mat room, kind of like this, like in their department with a qualified black belt instructor to teach them and have that training available to those guys and girls like every day, just accessible, you know, but
the truth is a lot of departments have those resources available, but a lot of individual officers just aren't interested in putting in the effort.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that in the SEAL teams. A lot of guys were not interested in learning jiu-jitsu, and they're like, "We're gunfighters, not street fighters." And I'm like,
until you're not.
Yeah,
that's what you're a gunfighter until you're not. Now what?
You yourself should be a weapon, not having to rely on your rifle, your pistol, your anything. Like you yourself.
Well, I had a guy who's a good friend of mine, Greg Lappin, who's actually doing my Guns and Geese course with me. And the way he explained it really resonated because he goes, dude, combat is just based on what range you're at. He goes, now based on what range you're at, you're going to use which tool is most suitable for the job. If I'm at 1,000 meters, we know what tool I need to use to engage you. If I'm at 300, you know, and the list goes on and on. But it gets to the point to where now we're at 1 meter. Okay. Maybe my pistol, but maybe not. And
at some point, you still even when you're dealing with prisoners, you know, like or pucks, like on target, and you can't just, you know, if you're lucky enough, you just kill everyone on target. But that's not
how it works.
That's not really the reality. But you know, and you're going to have to deal with and put hands on people, and you know, people are unpredictable, and you don't know what people know. And have you ever grappled with, you know, any of those Iraqis or Afghanis?
No, I have not.
They're pretty strong people.
Yeah,
yeah, and you know, surprisingly, you know, they live hard lives, farmers, and you know, they're strong people. But anyway, but like if it only takes 1 second for shit to get crazy, even in close proximity, even with people around you that are support and this and that, but if they get a hold of you and get your weapon, that's a wrap.
Yeah.
You know, it can literally happen that fast, and just it doesn't hurt ever to be more prepared and be more capable.
Your grappling, even if you never use it in a professional setting, as a warrior, as a SEAL, as a ranger, as a police officer, the lessons you learn on the mats and the way that you develop your capabilities, it's going to carry over in how you do your job, even if you're not grappling people on the objective. And you know what I'm saying?
Not only that, but like to me, one of the things I had as a mindset as an operator and like as a SEAL, like we went around the country, and we, you know, the places where people were vulnerable was in bars, mainly. You know, it's like, and you as a SEAL should never get your ass beat by some average Joe at a bar. That's just me. That's my personal view on it, you know, and it's funny because some of these guys who were so adamant and like against training and learning that stuff because they're gunfighters, not bar fighters or not this or that. Like, yeah, I get it. You're in danger when you're downrange or whatever, but you're just as easily able to be attacked or killed in a bar in America.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of our guys got their ass beat in bars, like to where, you know, luckily they didn't kill you, because if someone knocks you unconscious at a bar and, you know, it's them and their friends or whatever, and maybe you and another guy, and you just got your asses beat, you're at their mercy.
Yep.
And people don't understand that, and that's what.
Plus, you're hurting the SEAL's reputation because everybody thinks you guys can kill people with your bare hands.
I mean, some of us can, but you know, that's just my thing. Like, and again, like as a warrior, as a man, I want to be a weapon myself.
Yeah, it's absolutely mandatory. I feel like, especially if your craft is, if you're in the fucking profession of combat, i.e., military or police. That's your chosen profession of being a warrior, and you need to embrace all facets of that.
And be a good representative of it.
So then you developed Adopt a Cop.
So again, I was preaching, bitching about, like, I think all police departments need to have like a dedicated mat space, dedicated instruction, blah, 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 whatever. But then, you know, the whole call for defunding the police was coming about, and that was becoming more and more popular, and it was actually gaining traction in some places,
which is just insane.
Like here.
Yep. Yeah, like here.
And they were defunding the police, and it's like, what are you talking about? That is not the answer. There needs to be more training, and you need more funding for that or whatever. But so I was like, and being in the military myself and realizing how much bullshit and red tape you have to jump through at times to get anything done. Like, I also realized that like the majority of my nice gear I bought myself.
Yeah.
Anything that went through the military kind of sucked. And if it was civilian run or civilian, like through civilian, this and that, it was way easier. So I realized that, and was
that's how you could bypass the red tape, is just getting existing jiu-jitsu academies on board with the program.
Yep.
I like that.
So I was like, you know what? There's already jiu-jitsu gyms across the country, everywhere you go. And there are police officers that do train, but not everybody does. And jiu-jitsu is expensive, and not every police officer, it's not the greatest paying job out there, and and that's a luxury to some, and I was like, but I think that people will get behind this, and I was like, what if we did like, I used to send money to the, feed a kid in New Guinea or whatever, send, and they send you a picture of the kid, so you kind of see where your money's going or whatever. And I was like, what if we did that with like, jiu-jitsu and these police, and we could post it on Instagram so that people, and we could tag them so like people see where your money's going, because that's what the problem with a lot of charities I've seen is, like, you donate to them, you have no fucking clue where your money goes, and a lot of charities are bullshit.
Yeah.
And I was sick of seeing that, so I was like, you know what, why don't I start my own? And and I was like, well, with that whole concept, I was like, you could adopt a cop, to train BJJ, and we can pay for them to, pay for their membership until they reach the rank of blue belt, because anyone with a blue belt level of knowledge has a night and day advantage over someone who doesn't train.
Yeah, it's not even.
It's like a child.
Yep.
Like you playing with a child. For real.
Yeah, for sure. So
even and it to an extent, like, regardless of your physical stature, and I realized that learning jiu-jitsu, like I said, guys who are 140 pounds fucking tying me in knots, and they weren't like world class. They were probably blue belts or definitely, and they weren't higher than purple belt, that's for sure. And they were fucking me up, but so I was like, okay, well, that doesn't seem too unreasonable, and I think that people will get behind that and see the value in it. And there's enough, jiu-jitsu is becoming mainstream enough to where, people know the effectiveness of it. And I think it, if you kind of take away that excuse of the money, then people would train maybe, maybe more.
So then if you're an academy and you're listening to this, you can just reach out to you. Yeah,
adoptacopbjj.org.
Okay.
You can just submit your basically a request to become an affiliate. And so what we ask for an academy, if they want to become an Adopt a Cop affiliate, is that we ask that you adopt one cop yourself as a gym, so you have one billet available essentially. And it's only, again, from white belt to blue belt. And after we ask that you allow that one police officer to train for free until they reach the rank of blue belt through our program. And then every additional police officer, we ask for a special rate of $50 membership until they reach the rank of blue belt.
Got it.
And then, but it's not just that either. It's a attendance-based sponsorship. So if they either have to use it or lose it. And because we only want to give this opportunity to people who are taking it serious.
Yeah,
because I'm not going to ask people to donate their hard-earned money for you to just fucking go
once a month
and no.
Yeah.
Like, this is for people who, are serious about learning this craft, this trade. And if, and I'm going to tag the people who donate that money, and it's like, here, you're sponsoring Officer Greg, and it's a like I said, it's an attendance-based sponsorship, so they have to train a minimum of 1 time per week in order to maintain their sponsorship, which I don't think is unrealistic or unreasonable.
If you can't make 1 time a week, then you're just not.
You're not trying.
You're not balancing your priorities.
It's 1
correctly.
hour.
Yeah.
You know, like, and so basically you have to check in on Instagram. You have to do your post, and that's how we mark your attendance essentially. And that also helps generate content for the Instagram page, which shows people, it's like a proof of concept of, it's like, okay, this officer here is, and all of them like post like, how this has, most of it is like how humbling this is or eye-opening this is, because, it's like when you go into a jiu-jitsu gym, it could be, you can have a gorilla in there. You could have the fucking cashier from Walmart in there. You can have a lawyer. You can have
I always joke. It's
waitress.
Like, it's just this diverse group of people.
Yeah.
They would never get together in any other setting. But here they all are strangling each other.
Yep. Yep.
So
it's eye-opening. And so everyone, when they post those pictures, and that generates the content for our page, and that also shows people like, one, we can tag like, this person donated to this person and, whatever. So
yeah, connect the dots so people see it.
So it's just like transparency,
That's cool.
And it's a proof of concept. And
so then same thing for officers that are listening, that are interested. They can go to the website and then they can see
adoptacopbjj.org.
What affiliates are closest to them.
They can either do that but not just that, you can go to any gym you want across the country. We have a map on there on our website where you can, just like Google Maps kind of, and there's red dots all across the country, and those are all affiliated gyms.
Okay.
And you can go to that gym and they're already affiliated, but if let's say you want to go here, like Electric North, and that's not an affiliate yet. So the officer would come here and they would submit it like on our website, hey, I want to train at Electric North, and we would contact you guys and say, hey, this officer wants to train here. Are you interested in our program? And if you are, cool, like, then we'll set it all up. If not, if you're like, no, I'm not interested in that, then we'll allow the police officer to still go to that gym and train, but we're only going to reimburse them up to $50 with the membership.
Okay.
And that's just because, the charity is only like 4 months old, so we're not that big yet. And like, I funded the majority from my own pocket. Like, I paid for the first 60 officers myself to go and just get the ball rolling. And I figured, once they start posting and this and that, like, more people will see like this is a good thing and get behind it. But once we get like some sufficient funding, I want to up it to $100 per officer, and it's a reimbursement thing. So the cop will put their credit card down at the gym, and after they do their 4 check-ins, their weekly check-ins, then they get reimbursed monthly.
Oh, okay.
So,
I see.
So if they stop showing up or whatever, it's not on me, it's on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just kind of protects you.
Yeah, because
of course,
at first I put my credit card down for the first 60 officers, and then it was like, oh wait, this isn't the best way to do it.
And then a bunch of dudes just stopped training halfway through.
Well, and the reality is, like, it's not that big of a deal for gyms to do this, because you and I both know it doesn't matter if you have 5 people on the mat or 8 people on the mat. Like,
you're right.
It requires the same amount of resources. So it's not a big deal for the gym.
Yeah.
And it's also an attendance-based sponsorship. So if they're not showing up, then it's certainly not costing you any extra anything.
Yeah, for sure.
So because I've had gyms give me the whole like, well, it's like, I don't want to hear it, man, because like it really doesn't require much at all.
Yeah, and if you're not interested, then you're not interested.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like, whatever.
But that's why, like, I really wanted to bump up the $100, because I feel like the $100 that's a good, membership. What do you charge a membership? $125. So that's essentially a membership.
That's their membership.
Here.
Yep.
And, I feel like more gyms will get behind it, and like, they'll go to the police department and say, hey, we have a program here. You guys can train for free. Come down, because everyone who signs up, they'll get $100 reimbursed, through the program. And that way, if the gym doesn't want to be a part of the program, the cop who is still going to get reimbursed $100 for their membership, which will cover the majority. Let's say you didn't want to be the cop would only be on the hook for $25.
Yeah.
Which, you know,
yeah, if you're not,
is what it is.
Yeah, if you're not willing to spend $25 to better yourself, you should probably look for a different career field. You know.
So, so that's where we're at with it. But we have over 700 cops nationwide that are already enrolled in the program.
Oh shit! So it's blowing up fast, dude.
And we've got almost,
see, look at you. Everything you do, fucking comes together, dude.
We've got almost 300 gyms across the country that are affiliated already, and Kenny Johnson, he's like my program manager, one of them, and he is, you know, he's a black belt under Cabrinho, so we're getting all the Alliance gyms. He trained Andre Galval for a long time.
Okay.
So we're getting all of the
Atos guys
and you know, going to come on board. So it's growing really fast.
Yeah, and I mean, my gym that I got my black belt out of in Huntington, I think they're on board now, right? Electric Jiu-Jitsu?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
We have a...
Yeah, you have too many to keep,
it's a lot.
To memorize, right? Well, cool, man. Yeah, we talked about getting affiliated and we did the paperwork and stuff, but I'm going to start pushing this out to the local departments. Yeah, I think that's what makes the most sense, you know? Go around and drop flyers and shit and get cops training, you know?
Yeah, and you know, and the gyms out there that are kind of like, they're not seeing the forest through the trees, you know, or they hear the word free and they're just like, you know, it's like, you're going to get people and they think like, maybe I'm losing out on this potential membership. It's like, no, these people wouldn't be here at period if this wasn't around. And then when you get them here, they're going to get like, well, realistically, what is it? Like 40% of people that start training drop out.
Or more
before blue belt.
Yeah.
So like realistically, not everyone is going to finish. Just because this is available to everybody doesn't mean everyone's going to take advantage of it. So this is like for the people that are serious about it, and this is a good thing, you know, and we should support them and want this to come to fruition.
Yeah.
And the thing is, no matter where you stand on your support of cops or whatever, everybody across the board wants less shootings.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
So no matter what side of the fence you're on, you should support the program.
Well, and I explain that to people all the time because there's a lot of departments that are like, we don't want you using chokeholds anymore. We don't want you using this. We don't want you using that.
It's such ignorance,
when you take a person and you start to like over here, it's just hands on. And then on the other side of the spectrum is deadly force. And you start taking away the tools in the middle, you start taking away their jiu-jitsu, you take away their ability to use OC. All you're doing is closing that gap that much closer to deadly force encounter. You know, they think that they're going to save people and they're doing the fucking opposite.
Dude, how many times have you been choked out?
Yeah, plenty, dude.
I've been choked out plenty of times, and you just wake up from a funny dream and all of a sudden, you know, and you're a little embarrassed, but you're like, whatever, you're fine.
Yeah.
You know, like people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about and don't know what they're doing are the ones making these rules. And
like I said to you yesterday, you can still hit someone in the head
with a club,
with a baton.
Yeah.
But you can't choke someone in Seattle anymore. They told us, and I was already on leave, so they told my coworkers, you can't use chokeholds even in deadly force scenarios anymore. I'm like,
what the fuck does that even mean?
What? So hey, I could choke you, but since my department says I'm not allowed to anymore, just go ahead and kill me. Like that's what they're fucking saying. It's ridiculous, dude. But regardless of the dumb policies that are out there, the stupid city council members and the politicians, the guys that have boots on the ground know what they need to do. And regardless of what your department's policy is of jiu-jitsu, you need to be trained in jiu-jitsu.
100%, and it could save your life, and it is literally like the difference. Fuck policy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
At the end of the day, if it's the difference between you going home to your family at night without a job, or your family going to your funeral, like I'm gonna choose going home without a job every time.
You owe it to them, you know. And I tell people that a lot. It's like if you have children, you have a family. You need to be proficient at your job. And part of being proficient at your job is knowing how to grapple, knowing how to use your tools, knowing how to shoot your gun. If you're not doing those things,
Yeah.
you're shortchanging your fucking family, in my opinion.
Yeah. And being a police officer, that, it's funny because like I to this day, I always thank police officers for their service and I'm serious about it, and it's funny, man, because when so many people like know that I'm a SEAL or former SEAL, and they're like, man, we're nothing compared to you, this and that. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, you are in harm's way every day. You're deployed every day when
At
you're
home.
patrolling on the street. And like when I was in Afghanistan, when we would go on patrol and this and that, I'm like, God damn, we stick out like sore thumbs, like we do not look like anyone here.
Yep.
We're like, regardless of, and in the mountains of Afghanistan, you are like, the enemy is invisible, they really are. And you stick out like a sore fucking thumb. And I think about that today, in today's climate, especially in today's climate, where police are hated and targeted and this and that. You see it all the time. Cops just sitting in their cars and people run up and shoot them and stuff. And or how many incidents have you seen where it's a traffic stop and people walk up and they fucking get attacked, shot and stuff like that. Like,
well, bro, I can tell you, it's very uncomfortable.
I'm sure
being on patrol.
I'm sure. I've
like
done ride-alongs.
All eyes are on you all the time.
I've done ride-alongs and feel like that.
Like you fucking stop to get a coffee at Starbucks, everyone's staring at you.
Mm-hmm.
You walk through fucking baggage claim at the airport, everyone's staring at you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, fuck, man.
You're a target.
Yeah,
And you never know what people, we had it happen in Afghanistan. People will come up and smile to your face, and you walk away, and you get into a tick, and you come back. It's the same person dead that was just shaking your hand.
Mm-hmm.
They'll shoot you in your back. And like, being a police officer is dangerous, but it's so important and such a necessary role and for a society.
Yeah. Well, I love that you said that, because that's the thing that people have lost sight of. All these people that say defund the police. Guess what happens when there's not law and order? Guys like you and I will do whatever we fucking want to.
Mm-hmm.
And like, luckily we have a good moral compass,
and
right?
That's what I'm saying.
But
like, you don't even understand
guys,
how much they are keeping you safe from me.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But there's a lot of people in society that are very dangerous and that are very capable.
Like those crackheads in your...
Yeah, but that are also evil. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Those people are out there. And the law enforcement and law and order is a barrier between those people and everybody else that is living in this fucking utopia that we've created. And I'm glad that we've created this for a lot of reasons, but you don't want to lose sight of that. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, fuck, dude, the same people that are fucking crying about the police killing people are saying to defund the police. They have no idea what's on the other side of a fucking lawless city,
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and that's the only thing, like, the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with
100%,
a gun,
dude,
who's willing to do even more fucking violence.
It's human nature. I mean, look at Iraq. Like, after we fucking overthrew Saddam, the power vacuum was fucking just immediately apparent, and warlords started to fucking rise. And they started to fill that power vacuum, and they weren't fucking nice people. They were people that were fucking beheading everybody and burning them in cages and putting their heads on pikes and shit.
And that's where like the psycho in you and I that's excited for this shit to unfold, because I think about it myself. I'm like, just, dude, if it once this shit just erupts and it's just totally lawless and it is a free for all. Good luck.
Yeah.
Because I have a violent like imagination, and if I can employ that, it's not going to be good. Like, well, I think like those people in the fucking in your trailer.
Yeah.
If there was no repercussions or like worries of you having to go to jail for your actions,
they'd all be dead.
They'd all be dead.
Every single one of them, dude, without even a second thought.
Yep.
Well, I think that I think that last little snippet just got us on AOC's list. So, but bro, we're 3 hours in. I think it's a good spot to wrap it up.
Yeah, whatever you want.
You guys got a couple more days in Washington, which is fucking cool. And hopefully we're training tomorrow night, yeah?
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, you got anything else then?
No. You can follow me on Instagram at Mitch Aguiar, Aguiar, and you have to type in the whole thing because I'm shadow banned.
Yeah.
And or MASF underscore industries and Adopt a Cop BJJ. And you can donate if you'd like to at adoptacopbjj.org. And my website is massivsupplements.com.
Cool. And we will provide links in the show notes to all the stuff that you just mentioned. So
All right, cool.
awesome. Thanks for coming on, man.
All right, thanks for having me.